Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Thursday Night Forum. Welcome to Arsenal Fan Circle. You're all welcome. Pull up a chair, all of that good stuff. And Stan will join us shortly. You see his avatar there, but we got Gary as well downstairs. Hey, Gary, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I was just thinking about it. Life is not so bad as an Arsenal fan. We hopefully are starting our cycle of being good for a number of years. And I think, Gary, we just have to manage that situation on the field and off the field. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, it is a good time. I have not seen Arsenal in the state that a lot of other fans have, so it's good to see that. Challenging for trophies. That's the first thing, and having a legitimate opportunity to get one or two. So yeah, no, I think it's been good, and they've got a good, strong base to build on. So that means it's not going to go away, and it sounds like we might have gotten some good news, so that we know that. We have only one
Thread,
loose end
loose
to
end.
tie up, and then
Saliba?
yeah,
Would that be Saliba?
yeah,
Yeah, so I suppose we can start off with the good news and welcome Stan also. The good news of, listen, it's a verbal agreement for Bukayo Saka. Um, I believe he's told his agents and people are handling his business. He wants to stay at Arsenal. He loves Arsenal so much. And he could also importantly see success with us around the corner, you know? So there's a couple of things there. Verbal agreement, a deal in principle worth 10 million a year. That'll be approximately 200 a week. And I think the information is saying a 5 year deal, bring him up to 2028, and he will be age 26 after those 5 years. Now, of course, you're going to do a 5 year deal to protect yourself 2 years out. So 3 years from now, Gary, we'll keep going with you, Gary, until Stan gets himself completely settled in there. So, it's good news with Bukayo Saka, Gary.
no, no, that's good. It's good to hear. I mean, coming into the season, we all knew that there was a couple of re-signings that needed to happen, and we've got this one almost across the line. We've got one more left to go. So yeah, no, it's a good sign. It means that they're in, they're enjoying their football, but also they're enjoying, as they say, the project that's going on, the plan of Arsenal right now. So yeah, no, it's a good sign. I mean, I think a lot of people did never believe that Saka was going to go anywhere else, but you never know until they actually sign the paper, right? So we're still not there yet, but I think we're closer than we were yesterday. So
Yeah.
we'll take it.
We got Martinelli signed up, and it was a question of just give me a pen, Martinelli would say.
Hmm.
Stan, it would seem almost, Bukayo Saka was almost saying the same thing. I remember a couple of years ago, I'm saying, come on, it's Arsenal. Well, it's a no brainer. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's one of our own. I think he's happy there, and I think it'll only be short while before Saliba follows. He's probably looking around and seeing all of the other talented players putting pen to paper. So I think it will all just take care of itself.
Yeah, exactly. As Big Skinner says, just Saliba to go now. And you're right. Looking around, and as these players commit themselves to Arsenal, the fear was maybe 18 months ago that, Bukayo Saka would go in England international duty and rub shoulders with the likes of Grealish and the other England internationals, maybe at City, and feel Man City could be the place. But we're in a situation now where we're competing against Manchester City, and feel like we're building something good here, Gary.
No, definitely. Arteta. I mean, that was the crazy part is if we just listened to Arteta and believed everything he said, you know, we would have foresaw this. But I couldn't believe him. But he's been trying to build something, and he's getting there. And he's gotten players that want to come here. He's got players that are here that don't want to leave because they see what's going on. So yeah, no, Arteta's doing a good job. Just got to get us across the line. One,
Mm-hmm.
building the squad. Two, having to pick up a trophy at the end of the day. So we're getting close.
Yeah, that really is important, Stan, to see that we're building something. And if you look around the European competition, hopefully next year we're in a situation where we're rubbing shoulders with Real Madrid, and we may not like it, may being beaten 2-1 or 3-1 by Real Madrid, but we'll be hopefully in Champions League next year.
Well, as long as they don't tuck five away against us like they did against Liverpool, I think
Mhm.
the wheel has changed. Sort of like I look at that score and it kind of takes me back to Bayern Munich. When we got on the wrong side of them. So maybe the wheel has turned in our favour.
Yeah, Gary, we're in a situation. I think we can see it now. We're building something good. We're probably ahead of the curve, but we want to finish this thing out and go ahead and win this league title if we possibly can. Nothing's won in February, nothing's won in March, but hopefully we can do it ahead of schedule. We were here this time last year and we fell a little bit short. Feels slightly different to me this year.
Yes, it is. Well, we saw some good things last year, and they built on that, and that's been the key. I always tell you, you got 38 tests, and you want to get better just a little bit each time. And I think that's what this is what happens when you build up. It looks like it took a long time. It took a long time because it was gradual, right? So it
Yeah,
didn't just happen like that. So no, it's been good. And to be a gunner, Partey's still got 2 more years left on his contract. So
right. Yeah.
yeah,
Welcome everybody here. So BX Gunners in the house. Good evening, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for
yes,
joining.
yes, big
I
Gunner and Mr.
knew
Tom.
I knew my chicken sacrifices were good for something. Just a little bit ago. And what's Party got left in his contract? Gary, good to see you at the start of a podcast.
Yeah, I joined his podcast yesterday, basically as the credits were going up. So and then I couldn't even communicate. It was something wrong with the StreamYard, so it was like just really bad.
Tom, I finished both 100%. Yeah, big up BX Gunner.
Mhm.
Yes, Dan. We've been through the bad times. Hopefully, we're going to see some good times now. We can see the building blocks being built, but also I'm looking, like I said, in European competition, and that makes me realize there's still a lot of work to be done with this squad.
Yeah, but and I also hope that when they're looking at these negotiations as well, these contract negotiations, that they've got foresight to put in, 1 year options and little bits and pieces like that that give Arsenal, more of an opportunity in the driving seat to make sure that these contracts go through in a timely fashion. When they come around again.
Yeah, yeah. There is a lot to do when we look at Real Madrid. How are we going to compete with a Real Madrid, Gary? Maybe it's not a problem for tonight, but it is a problem for the coming seasons. If we want to win the Champions League, do we need to be lucky? Do we need to miss a Real Madrid? Do we need to have a Madrid be beaten by another team? There's also news about Declan Rice possibly coming in the summer.
Yeah,
Uh, a lot of things happening.
no, for sure. No, competing with Real Madrid. I mean, right now, we are until we get over the city hump. The Real Madrid is probably not in our. It's not something we can even think about just yet. Let's try and be able to beat all the teams in our league. We
Yeah,
still haven't done that yet, right? So
yeah,
City seems, I believe, is the last one. If we can get kind of be able to have competitive matches against them where they don't win everything, and then we can start thinking about the Real Madrids and the Bayern Munichs and whatnot. So I think we are still young in that sense, right? In that kind of a competition, but we need to get what we're moving. We're doing well. So, and I think if we are able to get a win somehow, a trophy at the end of the day, that'll help us boost hopefully the players that we do bring in because we do need to bring in quality players and either young and up and coming players or just go out and get the talent that you want to ready to go. So that's going to be the next thing. So yeah, no, I don't. Real Madrid, I don't think we're there yet. We saw what they did to
Liverpool.
Liverpool, but I think if I think we're much better than Liverpool this year. we might be able
Mhm.
to compete, but I feel it'll still look like those city matches that we play right now, where if we don't have a full 90 minutes, we eventually will the game will get away from us pretty quickly. So we still got work to do, which is good, but we are looking great right now.
Mhm. Stan, I guess I'm marking the card a little bit. I always like to project a little bit next year. Hopefully, we're in the competition when it comes to February, rubbing the shoulders with the big teams in the Champions League, and probably understanding we have to navigate through a group stage in the autumn, in the fall, and that means maybe losing a game here and there, and the fan base have to know that the objective will be to get through the group in fall.
Yeah, but I want to play all the big teams. I don't want to navigate our way through sort of like tiptoeing around teams. And a team like Real Madrid, they're an aging team. At some point, they're going to
Yeah.
have to refresh that squad because there's a lot of their key players are, I would say, now heading into the twilight of their careers. So it's going to be interesting to see how they do that rebuild, because are they going to do everything in one foul swoop, or are they going to start building it gradually? And over at Barcelona, they have problems with how much that they can spend. Whereas we have
Mhm.
a team that's learning and growing, and hopefully will be around for many years to come. So you may see that give us the edge in coming up competitions when we face some of these teams.
Yeah, our cycle is coming both in the Premier League. We're building as a young team, doing quite well. And as you say, Modric, uh, he may still be this good next year. Benzema, he may still be this good next year. But it will be a year on from there, even if we do meet Real Madrid. Alonso said, big up to the trip, full Nelson podcast, and the Gooner Shack, getting
Yeah.
all the shout outs
I
in.
didn't get any response from Stan. I sent him a message and he didn't respond to it
A message where
in your DM
I did
about the
50.
Gunashek.
When
You got to check your business, Stan.
You gave me a thumbs up to the second or third message, but not the first one I sent today.
I was probably still in bed, Gary, when I was reading.
You read like my wife. She just reads the last one, doesn't read.
Oh yeah, I saw
Or the-
that, but I didn't understand what it meant. Thanks for your
What was
order,
it?
Philip.
What is it? Yeah, and what does it say? Thank you. What?
It just says, "Thanks for your order, Philip."
Yes, and
Who's Philip? That's all it says.
that's my first name.
That's all. That's all it says.
Well, what
Doesn't
is
say
the
anything
what
else.
is it? What's the fourth word?
Thanks for your order.
Yeah,
Order.
but I didn't get it. I don't know who Philip is.
I just told you that's my first name.
I didn't know that when you sent it. I thought your name was Gary.
I thought your name was Gary too.
It is
We're learning
Gary.
things about Gary.
So that was your
Anyways.
order. Well, thank you very much, Gary. I did receive an order from a Philip, but I didn't know who that was. I thought that was maybe the Misfit or somebody. I didn't know.
Oh, no, that was me.
But
All
I
right.
did thank you because you got a thank you message.
Oh,
I send everyone a thank you message when they buy.
it's crazy how that happens.
It's
But
crazy.
very much appreciated, Phil.
No,
Now you're gonna be like salty that you told us your name is Philip, right? So
I
You're gonna get lots of
I
Phil.
can't get away from my name. That's just my
No.
name.
no.
Where does Gary come from then?
It's my
Yeah.
middle name.
Okay.
My
My dad's Philip at home, and I'm Gary.
So what does
that's kinda how
everyone
that
what does
works.
everyone call you where you out and about?
Gary.
Oh, I
Okay.
see.
There was
Okay.
one job I took where I forgot to tell them that I go by Gary, so they just call me Philip. Turned out it was a British company. So when I got married, I had friends, colleagues from work, and my friends from college, and they were all, talking. And one would say Philip, the other one would say Gary. Everybody knew what they were talking about, but it was
Man,
just.
this is gonna tie into a section I've got a little bit later called True or False. You know,
So,
it's
yeah,
Arsenal related.
I
True or
didn't
false.
understand what that message meant. I was like, 'cause I remember waking up and I read it and I was like, was that even meant for? What's up with you, Cat? Sorry. I was like, was that even for me? So I didn't get
Uh,
that, but yeah, much appreciated, Gary. Thank you, Philip.
Yes. Yeah. Is that what I gotta hear
You.
now from the rest of the show until you forget my name's Philip?
Probably
No,
for the
we'll
rest of
go-
the year.
Well, here's one thing, Stan. You either have to drop Teabag or you have to drop Philip.
I ain't dropped my tea bag.
Uh,
There you go.
woo!
Uh,
Even though now I'm pissed off because you're gonna get call a guy by his wrong name.
Alonso will be joining
Cheers,
us
Gary. I appreciate it.
after his work. He
No
works at a
problem.
place called BS. I
Yeah,
don't know the name of that.
yeah.
Good evening, gentlemen. Working tonight, so I'm listening. Good evening, Stephen. Also, Yo BX is here. Hello, everyone. Yes. So listen, Bukayo Saka, a generational talent. Looking back at some of his goals throughout this season, even he scores. We just take we we just take him for granted. I don't want to say that, but his skills are supreme, right,
Yeah,
Gary?
I don't think we take him for granted. I mean,
The
I think we were. I mean, if you think about how where he started from, right? He basically just wanted to get on the pitch, right? And Emery got him on the pitch any way he could, right? He pretty much played everywhere he could on that,
Mhm.
out wide and on the back line. So he just wanted to play some football, right? That's all he wanted.
Yeah,
HEB or whatever. Yeah,
HEB.
but he wanted to play football, and we like the versatility, but we also like the fact that just keep me on the pitch. I'll show you what I can do. And I think in the early days when it was like, well, where should Saka play? I'm like, well, you know what, just play him at left or right back because we didn't really have any. Right at that point, we didn't have any. Everybody's like, no, 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 no. He's got to play up top. I'm like, I know, but we don't have anybody back there. Now
Mhm.
we do, and we see him. He's probably happier where he is now, and didn't. The coach
He
didn't
had
listen to me.
he had so much quality. Even playing from the left back position, he scored a goal against Bournemouth in our FA Cup run a few
Mhm,
years ago. It's so easy just to look back at the bad times now.
mhm.
Colonel Mustard was part of our back four. We have come a long way, Stan, in just a few years. And I feel like we've improved just as Bukayo Saka has improved and come through the team
Yeah, we have. I mean, the back line is a bit leaky, though. I mean, I don't. We haven't been keeping clean
more
sheets
recently.
as
Yeah.
much as I would like.
Yeah.
So I hope there's going to be some work done on that. And there are talks that we're looking at other centre backs, and there's talks about Gabriel that won't go away about him maybe joining the team in Italy. So we'll have to see. But I mean, I don't think nothing's going to change now till the end of the season. So we
Mhm.
have what we have what we have. We just hope that the manager makes the right selections in the right matches. As matches where I suppose Zinchenko would probably be better suited, and there'll probably be matches when a Tierney may be more suited, and the same on the other side. So it's up to the manager to make those right choices now.
Right. As BX said, after 6 damn years, I'm over the moon. The exodus out of Champions League felt like fucking limbo. So we should coast into this Champions League, and we want to remain competitive. That's why Gary, I guess, touching on that win against Aston Villa, so important. We got that late winner. We got a little bit out of jail. So important that we now cannot look over our shoulders, but look forward to forging ahead in this thing.
No, for sure, for sure. As I said going into that weekend, all I want is 3 points. I don't care how we get there.
Mm-hmm.
And like most people are resigned to the point we might get. And then craziness happened for like 6 minutes, I guess. Not even 6 minutes, like 3 minutes, I think.
Yeah,
Basically, I'm like, all right,
93
we
to
got
97.
a
Yeah.
point to like, boom, we have definitely got the 3 points now sewn up. So that was really good to see. So yeah, we'll take the 3 points. Now we need to use that as a springboard to get back closer to our form or whatever our form is now. Because I think we are a different team than we were back when we were kind of rolling through the season, right?
Yeah.
Different.
We
We don't have
want to
Partey, we don't have Jesus, so we are a different team, but we are still making it work.
we
Um,
want to get back to normal wins. Our last two wins, where we actually got W's, have been in added time against United and against Aston Villa. So
mm,
want to get back to some more of those normal wins.
yeah.
Winning in
I
added
was just
time
gonna
is
say
great.
something because you guys were
Mhm.
talking like we always talk about the depth for City, but against us, Pep had to use Bernardo Silva as a fullback, right? So like, where's that depth? It's not there. It's either not there or we really create a problem for them. Oh, we lost. Did we lose him? It's like we might have lost him. So, if that might be a sign of change as well, right? That they have to actually go and take one of their
I'm
their
here.
midfielder and bring him back on the back line just to get things, just to be able to control the game somewhat. So it's a good
Yeah,
sign for us.
that's crazy, Stan. I was just thinking about that. Like, um, last minute wins, they're great, but
Mm.
I want to get back to against Leicester this weekend where we have a controlled game and we actually win it before 60 minutes is up. You know what I mean?
It'd also be nice if we don't have to, put the fans through the heart attack period of like coming back from a goal or two behind, which we've done so many times this season. It'd be
Yeah.
nice for us to go into a game, take
I
control
mean,
of it from the start, and just score maybe 2 or 3 goals, keep a clean sheet, happy days. That'd be nice.
this is a great thing. It's a roller coaster. Your heart goes up, your heart goes down, you sink.
I don't like your roller coaster. I
Okay.
didn't. I actually wanted the lazy river. Right, that's what I wanted, and you keep putting me on this, like, rapids.
Lazy river.
These the
Yeah.
crazy rapids that we keep going up and down. I don't like that.
All right.
Gary just likes, like the boring round merry-go-round that has like little kids' elephants and ponies. If
It goes
nothing
up
happens,
like
you just
this
go
and down. It
around.
does it.
You just go around very slowly. That's what Gary wants.
BX Gunner wanted Barca over United tonight. So United came from a goal down, penalty, I believe. I haven't seen it, but I feel like it was very soft. I heard maybe in a tug on the arm. Uh, Bruno Fernandez.
It was. Yeah, he grabbed. I mean, if that was the other way around, we would have it would have been given. The
Mhm.
fact that it was Barcelona and United, they were, as long as you put your hands on somebody, he definitely turned him. He went down easy, but he definitely got his hands on him and basically slowed up the attack of the player. So
Um,
uh,
I've seen some people say United was the best team to come out of that tie because now they've got a lot of competitions to be still involved in.
yep.
Um, but irrespective or notwithstanding, one of the big teams have gone out in the Europa League. Barcelona have exited. Stan, what are your thoughts on that tie particularly?
I didn't see it, but I mean, I heard that there was a bit of a scrap, wasn't there? There was like almost like a 22-man brawl on the pitch or something. Fernandez kicked the ball at who was it? Frankie De
Yeah,
Jong. And
yeah. The player,
everyone went mad about it.
well, yeah, I think a player got fouled, brought down, and I don't know if he just was instinctively just trying to boot it away, but
Mm.
the ball hit him right in the gut. I mean, it was it's perfect. It's one of those things where it was. He's a good footballer, so he knows where he's kicking the ball.
Yeah,
And the foul happened. The player's on the ground.
he
He could
placed
have
it.
pulled up. You've seen players pull up all the time, right? He didn't pull up. He booted that thing.
He obviously doesn't want De Jong to join United at all, does he? He doesn't want him there.
Other teams that have come through here, and these are the teams that I think we could be facing. Okay, Sevilla Sevilla overcame a comeback from PSV, so they come through 3-2 aggregate.
You see what
So
happened in that game? I just was
no,
looking at ESPN. A fan got on the pitch and I believe punched the goalkeeper for Sevilla. And
Wow.
yeah,
it is in Holland.
and
So
he brought
PSV.
and the goalkeeper brought him down. Put the player down until I guess the security came and got him. But
Bloody hell. What's going on?
yeah,
Juventus came through as well, 4-1 against Nantes in on aggregate. Sporting Lisbon are through, 5-1. Leverkusen came through on penalties. That is a decent team right there. Man United overcoming Barcelona. Now let's put Man United out of our minds because we can't draw Man United tomorrow. Roma, which is our old friend, former Chelsea manager, is out there managing Roma, and Union Berlin 3-1 against Ajax. So we got in the hat against Arsenal. It could be Sevilla, Juventus, Sporting Lisbon, Leverkusen, Roma, or Union Berlin. So
or I think
who do we?
Shakhtar won as well. So that's it.
Shakhtar. That's right.
That's another player, another team.
I was waiting on that. They won on penalties as well.
Yeah.
Who do we want, Gary, tomorrow?
I don't care.
You don't care. Bring
I
him
don't
on.
think it matters. Like, because I think it doesn't matter. I
Okay.
mean, I'll take the easiest one, but what is that?
Sporting Lisbon, maybe.
Yeah.
You know,
Who's Union
Sevilla could
Berlin?
be dangerous.
I
Huh?
never heard of
Union
Union.
Berlin, yeah.
Yeah,
Union Berlin.
never heard of them.
Yeah.
Seriously, never heard
Not
of
too
that team
fussed,
before.
then, Stan. Not too fussed, right?
I mean, I think Shakhtar Donetsk would be good to play because it would be just good to just beat them.
Mudrick's team. Mudrick's
I
team.
mean, if you saw that game, I mean, I don't think the defense wasn't that good, if I recall. I mean, there's some high scoring matches today,
Mhm.
um, in the Euros, right?
Yep.
So
We
I
fared
think,
okay against Sevilla, didn't we, in the group?
Um,
Didn't we?
we didn't. We played with PSV, I think.
Okay,
yeah,
Who
I'll
were
take
beaten by
Sevilla.
Sevilla. They were beaten
yeah.
by Sevilla. Sevilla is a dangerous team, I think, as Thunder Road has said. Don't want Sevilla. Thunder Road, welcome. Bargov's here. Good to see you, Bargov.
Mhm.
Union Berlin is third in Bundesliga. That's a dark horse.
I haven't even heard of them.
Um, yeah, I'd take a tune-up team before a giant. So, Sporting Lisbon for me, or um,
Lisbon ain't
I
too
don't
bad
want.
either.
I don't want. Forget his name, Mourinho. I don't want Mourinho with Roma yet
No.
either.
Mm.
So, we'll see what happens tomorrow when the draw comes out. Okay, we talked about Bukayo Saka. Gary, there's another player, Mohamed El Neni. He's got an extension for one more year. I have to catch up on your video. I know you had some thoughts on him on one of your in the car videos. I did not watch it yet, so I don't know your views, but interested to know what you think about
Yeah.
Mohamed El Neni.
Say hello to Bargav who just joined us.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
my initial thought for El Neni was, so now we have 30-year-old defensive mids. I don't think that's a good plan, but I think, as many people have said, it's not really. I don't. I don't think they ever expect him to play again for Arsenal. I think it's more of a good gesture in the sense that while you're injured, and it's a knee injury, so it will probably go through the summer. He'll be able to at least stick with the team and be in the locker room and rehab until he's ready to go. And I would expect him to be gone in January, like if he gets healthy enough.
Okay.
But I also know he's doing his coaching badges, so that could also be another reason why, like him and Jacques have been doing that. So I could see that as being a reason. I would be, I guess, I would be upset if they don't bring in another somebody behind, like either behind somebody behind Partey, or if he's
Mhm.
behind Jorginho, it's just because he's young and he needs to build up. But the future of that position we need players, right? I mean, it's the age dynamic doesn't fit in the club in the
50
car.
Cent. 50 Cent in the club.
Yeah, right.
DWTP
Hey,
in the
The car.
car.
Philip, it's your birthday.
I'm sorry. I should have never even said that.
Should
Now
have
I'm
just.
not gonna live it down. Now that's gonna be my name
You
for the rest.
started this, Gary. You
I did.
started
I
this.
did. I'm very sorry, people, because
Philip Sent.
Stan's not going to let it go.
Philippe.
I think
That's what I hear.
this is, no, but you know what? What is it? I think we need to bring in somebody behind the future for Partey's position. You know what I mean? I don't think Jorginho or Partey are the future for us there, and we need to bring in somebody that is. So that I'll be disappointed if we don't do that, because I think
Yeah,
we have, even if they're like, that's where I always go back to that Danilo player that we didn't pick up, that the 19-year-old.
Forest.
If they thought that Jorginho was the answer and they went with Danilo, I would say, oh, that's perfect, because now he's sitting behind two established players in that role. How else that's got to be the best place to be, right? When he comes on, either he plays with them or he plays behind them, and he'll get the knowledge that he needs to be ready to play when he's when we're ready to use him. But we didn't do that, so now I think we're going to spend a lot more money on a player. But that would have been
Yeah.
the plan for me.
I don't want to go down the route too much of a James Milner at Liverpool. We've got an
He's not
18.
Milner though. He's
I
not
know.
Milner.
I know. I know. But it's similar age profile. Not yet, but listen, I'm
It's
okay with.
you know,
Okay, go ahead, Gary.
No, it's just apples and oranges to me. I don't. When I look at Milner, when Milner was coming on the last couple of years, this year not so much, but the
Mm.
last couple of years, he actually looked like people were, were like happy with the way that he was playing. He's gotten the age has caught up to him by now. El Neni, we were just, we knew he wasn't gonna like do too much. He wasn't gonna do negative, bad things, but he wasn't gonna do, be able to do some of the good things that we wanted at that position. So sorry, I interrupted there, but yeah,
No, I mean it's the age thing, right? For me, it's the age thing. You mentioned 30-year-olds. Now, for me, Mohamed Al Neni can do a great job in the dressing room, and has been for many years. I think he brings a lot of balance to the team, and I think you need characters like this in the dressing room, a model professional that younger players can look up to. I'm quite happy that he's got another year. So if he does finish till what 2024, summer 2024, or even if it's January, I'm happy with that. I don't want to get to a situation where we keep renewing him year after year, but I'm quite happy with what the club have done with Mohamed El Neni and giving him that trust and giving him that extra contract. We're probably going to be going for a Declan Rice or somebody big in midfield, and El Neni will get some games in cup competitions. Um, but for in order for us to progress, we can't give Mohamed Al Nani more than this. So, Stan, where do you stand on this,
Well,
Mohamed?
Jorginho's got an 18-month contract, and I would say that within that 18-month period, both Jorginho and Onelny will probably be moved on, and probably just before that, you'll see some new people coming in to help with the transition. So yeah, it makes sense. They're not going to be around forever. They can still, they can still contribute if and when called upon. I mean, we've seen Janino doing okay in so far in the matches that he's played in. So within 18 months, if I know that within 18 months we're going to be turned around in that position, yeah, no problem.
Hmm. He does bring a lot to the dressing room as well, a lot to the club. I think he's a great influence for the younger players, and you need examples at the club. You need older professionals who are able to police the dressing room as such, because the manager's not going to be there all the time, and you need those old heads to do that. Um, I, Everyone knows I'm a big fan of Mohamed Al Nani and what he does and what he has done for the club. So, but he is going to get a limited amount of time to play this
Yep.
this next season coming up. Um, okay, so we have three huge games coming up in the space of a week. Stan, I'll start off with you. We have got Leicester City coming up at the weekend, and then we get a return of Everton at I was going to say Highbury, but the Emirates, and we've got Bournemouth coming to the Emirates. I think we're in a situation where we have to start stacking up some wins now. We're coming back to the start of the season where we played these teams. Now we're coming back again. Leicester City, we're playing them away from home. So 3 wins are very important. That run in is going to be tight for us.
The one that I'm looking at out of those fixtures the most is Everton, because I need to see how Mikel Arteta, what he's learned from the last game against a new manager that they've got in Sam Allardyce, who's probably not going to probably venture too far away from the tactics that we had just previously. So I'm interested to see what he's learned and how the team has learned and how we cope against an Everton that
Mhm.
are probably going to come with two banks of five and a goalkeeper.
Yeah. We'll get into Leicester a little bit later as well. But yeah, Sam Allardyce, Sean Dyche, right? Comes back, Gary, on Wednesday. This following Wednesday. And last Wednesday, we put up a good performance against City, but got turned over. So weeks can change on top of themselves very quickly.
no, for sure. Yeah. No, I mean, I think as we saw in at the Villa game, we're still not there yet. So hoping for better this time around. I think resiliency is there, and that's what I think was missing from the City match. We went down a goal, we never were able to at least hold on, and give ourselves a chance to maybe tie that thing up. So hopefully, what we got from the Villa game is a little bit more fire, and when we played Leicester City this weekend. hopefully it's a similar result than what we had last time. At least a 2-goal result win. So
Mm.
we're playing away. So we're one of the best teams away, one of the best teams at home. So we need to continue that, and hopefully build on itself. And also now I think with Nelson and Milsrif Rowe, another week on the bench. If we need to, we can go to them, right?
Yes,
I mean, we
we saw some training. We saw
Trossard
some.
or Gabriel will play, so now you've got at least 3 players coming off the bench if we need to score.
Yeah, we're getting close to that period where Emil Smith Rowe, we see him training now. We see some pictures of him training in London and Colney in the last 24 hours. We are maybe getting Gabriel Jesus back as well, maybe Reece Nelson. The forward players who we've been thin on the ground with, and we've had to ride with, and Nketiah and Bukayo Saka carrying us a lot, and then the mix of Martinelli and Trossard. We can mix it up a little bit now with Gabriel Jesus coming back in the next few weeks. Emil Smith Rowe being reintroduced into the team as well. BX Gunner, the next 5 opponents are Leicester City on Saturday. I believe it's Everton on Wednesday, the 1st of March. And then we play Bournemouth at home also. I think it's the following Sunday. I think Leeds are in there and Crystal Palace are in there as well. So those
I
are
don't know if they haven't changed it. It looks like it's still Saturday for those games. So,
okay. Okay.
mhm.
They are likely to change though because of the Thursday night participation in the Europa League. Probably switching to Sundays. Crystal Palace and Leeds. Sorry, Mr. Tom. We want you to gather some points before you meet us. You know what I mean? But Stan, what's your thoughts on that as well? You know what I mean? Uh,
Sorry, the question is.
Players coming back. We
Well,
really need to start stockpiling points up before we meet Liverpool away from home.
Well, with games coming up, like you said, you mentioned there's a Wednesday fixture. There's going to be midweek games coming up with the Europa League. Mikel's going to have to rotate. He can't stick with the same 11. And I would imagine that, you know, Saka's probably sitting there with pen to paper and he's saying, look, before I sign this, am I ever going to get any rest at some point, Mikel? You know, before I sign this, I just need to know.
Yeah,
Because I
yeah,
think Saka, as much as I love him and I like seeing him, how at some point he's going to have to leave him on the bench at some point or just take him out and bring somebody else in. And he seems very reluctant to do that. And I get it when you've got a player as good as he is, but you also run the risk of making him a bit frailer to injuries and running him into the ground, bad performances. So it's going to
yeah,
be interesting to
yeah.
see now that we're going to have more players to choose from if you're going to see more rotation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. We need to be careful. We need to be careful with Bukayo Saka. I'd like to see him being given some time out here
Hmm.
and there, at least 60 minutes, Gary.
Yeah. I
And
mean, I
then
was
come off.
thinking for me, yes, Saka needs his rest, but Nketiah also needs his rest. I mean, right now we don't. Do we know who our second striker is?
He's playing.
No. Okay. Do we know
Playing.
who our third striker is?
He's in France, isn't
Balogun,
You know what I mean? Like
he's
that
in
is
France.
I mean, can Nketiah play 3 games in a week and be able to produce some
No,
sort of performances that we
no.
don't like look at him and go, all right, well he did well. He played all 3 games because when like as you say, we're gonna have midweek games. I did look at the Arsenal's website and we have midweek games all the way through, right? So
Yep.
Nketiah can't play 3 games in a week. Not
Nope.
if we want to get the best out of him. So I and this is where I would always go back to what do I always say? We need rotation.
Mhm.
Not and we can't just do rotation now and expect it to work. You know what I mean? Now
my
it's too
theory is
late.
with Eddie, he gets played into an injury situation because he hasn't been given the rest. Do you know what I mean? And when it comes to replacing him, we're basically in old Mother Hubbard territory, big time.
Just whatever we got,
Yeah.
So that's my concern always about rotation is I don't want to rotate. I don't want to be a forced rotation, and that's what we keep reacting and not being proactive about. You know what? Our players need some time on the bench and some time on the pitch. And
Do you think we're
who
getting close?
who comes in right now? Probably for me, Trossard comes in right now.
Mm.
He's probably the more likely to come in because he's actually played a similar role. this
Yep.
season, I believe. Nobody else has. Who else has played in that position?
No, I mean, definitely. That was my next question. Do you think we're going to get to a point where Eddie Nketiah is rested and Trossard comes in instead of competing with Martinelli for that left wing spot? Trossard plays through the middle. You know what I mean?
Eddie hasn't been rested all since Jesus has been out.
Correct. Yeah.
So if he's not worn out physically, definitely mentally, he's making it work. But just we're talking about some of the misses he has. I mean, I don't know what striker out there in the league right now has played every game since Jesus has gone out without
Yeah, I
some
don't
sort of
know either.
rotation. Like even like we don't even take him out of matches.
No,
You know what I
no.
mean? Like I
We
get he
we
starts every game, but he doesn't have to play 90, and
we
he
we
has.
all know the substitutions by right now. You know, it's Tommy Asu coming on. It's maybe Fabio Vieira coming on.
Tierney.
It's
Mm,
Tierney. It's Trossard or Martinelli coming on. You know,
mhm.
these are stock and standard substitution. We need to be a little bit more hard to figure out, hard to game plan against. You know,
It
with
wouldn't
Brendan
surprise
Rodgers.
wouldn't
Yeah.
surprise me that when Emil gets better before Jesus comes back, I wouldn't surprise me if you maybe saw him playing through the middle only because out of all of the ones that we've had available, he's the only one that I can remember Mikel Arteta alluding to
Trying.
playing in
Yeah.
that position and experimenting with it. I think for whatever reason the Martinelli experiment seems to be put on hold. So maybe ESR because that's what the manager's kind of hinted at.
Hmm.
I think Martinelli's still figuring out this football thing because if you're looking at a Saka and you're looking at a Martinelli, they're at different levels right now, right?
They
And many
also
people,
Yeah.
I believe the ceiling for Martinelli was always it seemed higher, all right?
the
But it's just not the level he's
the-
at right now isn't showing that.
their game is shown also up in different ways. Martinelli is more suited to counter-attacking football, you know, using his speed. We saw he was the only player on the field that could have gotten that fourth goal for Arsenal with the legs that he had. Saka's more of a build up on the right hand side. We're looking at Erdegaard, we're looking at Saka, Partey when he's in the team. Our right side is really strong. We've said this a couple of times now this season. Our right side is really strong. Our left side struggles a little bit. Martinelli, Trossard maybe struggle a little bit because of that. And we know it's Granit Xhaka, and we know maybe it's Sinchenko at times not being defensively sound. Um, but I think we do. Martinelli plays a slightly different game for us than Saka does, just purely because of the strengths that he has in his game. You know, and Saka has different strengths. BX and Arsenal are lacking that European presence that only a Europa win would kickstart. I know Stan is a completionist. He said that before. Milner went from being done after City to being reborn at Liverpool. So it
You,
can
you
happen,
could
right?
you could say the same thing about Willian at Fulham. He looks
Yeah.
reborn over there, doesn't he?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, sometimes it goes stale. We all remember Mikel Arteta on the sideline when Willian did bang in that free kick right at the end of the
You know
season.
what? I think the things that are the Milner experiment and the William experiment were totally different to me.
Yeah.
Milner was he doesn't a well, we're gonna have to lean on you for the whole season. Whereas William was when he came to Arsenal, and I didn't think that was the case. So I
Mhm.
think one, he probably was just overused. He's too old for it to be playing every day, and we saw that right when we got nothing out of him. So I think, and the Milner,
Yeah.
if you think about it, when they were winning those trophies, he would come in right with about 30 minutes to go, and then just basically close up shop, right, and pretty much see out the game.
Yep.
He didn't really, and now he's having to start. Same thing. Henderson didn't really have to rotate around the field, right? They had to use him all over back when, years ago, but they can't do that anymore. You know, they just get old. Players get old.
Yeah.
And if you gotta keep those old guys in, they just can't play every day,
No.
right? Every game,
We're
back to
we're
back
gonna have
games.
to we're gonna have to navigate this because now we have Europe Light, Europa League. Next season, Champions League, we're gonna be stepping up a level. We're still gonna be playing 3 games a week. BX wants to know who's more of a threat, City or United? Which is the better team right now?
Well, I would say that Man United seem to be a team that's more in form and having a bit of an uptick. If you look at them from the beginning of the season to where they are now, Ten Hag's definitely done something. And it wouldn't surprise me that just by taking Cristiano Ronaldo out of the team has probably done a lot to create a better
Yeah,
a better atmosphere at the club, more harmony. But they're both not to be trifled with. To be fair, they're both
yeah,
not to be trifled with.
yeah.
I
They're
mean,
both
here
a
do
bit
you
dangerous.
do you see is there any similarity um with Ronaldo last season
Yeah,
being a leading scorer, but they struggle pretty much all across the board, pulling him out and things are okay. And City bringing in Harlan, he's going to score for you, but is the team as a whole as
sure.
strong as they have been? You would expect them to be because like we got to have a 30 goal scorer this season,
Yeah,
but
and you could
they're
even
vulnerable still, and it would be one thing if they were a threat all the time and you're defending that, but that doesn't happen, right? And that's why teams are able to get a point, get a goal on them, and keep them at bay. So
you
it's
could
for me, it seems similar in that sense that having the top scorers are helping them because it takes them away from what they've done for the last five
I think
years.
with Cristiano Ronaldo, maybe you get a bit more attitude as well with the
Mm.
player. Do you know what I mean? When you're making
also
decisions,
you
when you're
can
making
roll.
tactical decisions, I think maybe Haaland, because he's new and he's young, would obviously give somebody like Pep more respect. Whereas someone like Cristiano Ronaldo, he's done it all, and as far as he's concerned, his opinion is worth listening to. And if you don't listen to him and you go your own way, he gets offended. You know,
Is
so
is that harsh of me to say Holland's, you know, Holland's reputation is in danger? Is that me? Is that me being too tough right
His
now?
reputation, I don't
Well,
think.
if
I
a
don't-
Real Madrid, if the next step for him is Real Madrid or a Barcelona or a bigger team than City, is he? Is it being shown that he's not a real all-round footballer right now? He's just a finisher and not the best finisher at this point in time. Is that too
look
harsh?
at the numbers, man. The amount of hat tricks he scored, and I saw an interview with him recently. I think it was yesterday. I don't know when the interview was from, and he said that there's still an adjustment period where perhaps his teammates aren't finding him all of the time and getting used to his runs. And as we saw in the
Yeah,
game when we played them, if you make a comparison to Eddie missing 3 chances and not putting the ball in the back of the net, and then you get Haaland, who didn't get much of the ball, but when he did get on the ball, he put it in the back of the net.
yeah.
yeah, no, I don't think he's tainted in any way.
Tainted.
You
Like
know, because I mean
it,
that's what it
it
sounds like you're saying,
what's his
and
game?
numbers
What's his
that
game like outside of finishing goals, finishing moves off?
well the
His
problem is why
general
doesn't he
play.
get more opportunities, right? Like just
What
get him
more do
the
you want
damn
from
ball,
him, Ray?
get him the damn ball.
Ray
He will
wants him to
finish.
save penalties,
No. But think about
His-
it. Just get him the trick
heading it
is
off the line
yeah,
in
no.
defence.
The
What do you
trick
want,
is
Ray?
get him the ball, though.
he
Get him no
he's not
get him the
coaching enough.
ball. Like
That's
just
what I
get him
think.
the ball,
Okay.
and you'll be okay. If they
Okay.
got him as many touches
I
as
I
Nketiah
just
gets, think about it. If
Glad you're not
they
my manager, Ray. Fucking hell. Imagine
I
that.
just feel
You've
like
scored all those goals, and Ray comes in the change room and
he's
goes,
been bought to
I
win
need
the
a bit more
Champions
from
League.
you. You're like,
He's been bought to win the Champions League, but he's not like a Benzema. A Benzema's got skill. He can put a goalkeeper on the ground with Allison. He can sidestep that goalkeeper.
I
And you
think
see
Haaland
well,
does
Allison
that. Haaland
screaming.
can do that.
you have to take
Haaland can do that.
your
Yeah.
advantages and use them. He doesn't need to be a Benzema to score to get his team where they need to. Like there are different styles to get to the same place. The ball
Yeah.
gets to the back of the net. You don't care. The
I think
trick
they're
is
Yeah.
quite similar,
he
right?
just needs more. Like Benzema, what scored the fifth goal?
Yeah.
Both box operators,
The
aren't they?
fifth goal, not the first, second,
I
third,
know.
fourth.
And
The fifth one
Mudrick
when the game
Mudrick
was
led it.
over.
Yeah.
You know what I
Mudrick
mean?
really. Yeah.
So I kind of feel like they I mean I know there's like a system and that's why it takes so long but for him to get vetted into the system but why you have an answer. You have like the answers to the test there.
Yeah.
Get the ball to him, right? Put the
Okay.
crosses in. We saw it like during parts of the season where they just put crosses in. It doesn't matter. He's either off the head, off the foot, whatever it is. He'll get the ball into the net. You just have to give him the opportunities,
Okay.
and teams are able to stifle that, right? So I think that's for me. There's nothing. He's not doing anything wrong. I just don't think they utilize him enough to where he's always the answer because that's what he is. He's an answer, right? I need to get a goal. What do I do? Get the ball to
Yeah.
Harlan.
Get
Just
get the
get the ball
ball
to.
to him.
We
He
look at
he will
look at
rely on the supply as well.
Darwin Nunez, as a lot of hype around him before he went to Liverpool. We were looking at him. I was excited about him. It's taken him a while to settle in, but you can see that he's definitely got it. I mean, that
He's doing it. Yeah.
I saw a clip of the goal that he scored. I think it was this week, and the way that
Newcastle.
he kind of flicked it in with the back of his heel, right,
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
one
Yeah.
movement, and that takes
Yeah.
great technical skill to
And
do something
confidence.
like that. So
Yeah.
you can see he's got it. But I mean, a lot of people weren't impressed. There were some people that weren't impressed with Martin Odegaard during his loan period, believe it or not. So,
I
you know,
wasn't too impressed with what he was doing. I think, as you said,
and
he probably needed time to get
Well, I
wedded
think the
into
team.
I think
this
it's the
thing.
same for Teabag. I think he's going to have a bigger
Yeah.
season next season than he
He
has
did
this
it.
season because we've seen the quality. We've seen that
Yeah.
he's got good technique on the ball with some
Yeah,
of the shots he's taken and that. But
yeah,
he just needs a little bit of bedding in time.
yeah.
Yeah. BX
And
said.
that for me, that's why either he needs to play more, or you need to give him the loan time to get up to get playing football. Because I don't
He's
having
being
them.
eased in more, isn't he? Do you not see it with
Yeah,
Xhaka? He's
no,
being eased
now he
in.
is. Yeah,
It's happening. Maybe if not, maybe in a month's time, he'll be starting a game and Xhaka will be on the bench.
we're gonna have to start.
Europa League.
Well, I
You
think
look at
we've definitely
you look at
seen.
our second 11. They are decent,
Yeah.
right? There's not too
Yeah.
many spots where you go. I don't know if I'm going to go if I can go there. We have
Yeah.
Rob Holding
answers.
for 90
Hey,
minutes.
put
For
some
90
respect on
minutes
his
as
Well, you
well.
name,
know what?
okay?
We got Ben
Rob
White,
Holding.
right? So you like Ben White. Maybe you take a game off, and then the next game you come in as a center back, so we can rest one of our center
I,
backs, right?
I want to get
That's one
through
way
Yeah.
you can do that.
a few comments here. BX Center says Saka signs and turns up. He definitely is built different.
Yeah, we'll
Um,
find out, right, when he signs if somebody says those money bags get heavy on your back and
yeah,
weigh you
I
down.
just I don't think he's been playing for a contract. You know what I mean, Gary? You look
Yeah,
at maybe a Mo Salah. He was playing for his contract
yeah.
and he had that dip afterwards.
The thing is, you don't.
It can happen, right?
Those
Though.
players are so good; they don't need to concern themselves with that stuff.
But
Just need to go out and
whenever
play
money's
football.
on the table, they seem to play that extra
And
10%.
it
They
hurts
give that
them
extra.
most of the time. It hurts them
Look at
because
Rashford
they're
as
the-
well.
it's like what that is to me. Like they have the home run derby,
Yeah,
and and the players go and do that, and then for the next like 3 or 4 weeks or the next month, they just can't hit anymore.
yeah.
It's kind of almost like that. You're like fighting to win this thing. You get there, you win it, and then like what got you there, you can't do anymore because you've changed your whole process up. That's not how you play, right? You play
Mhm,
in a totally different style, and I think that's what happens. They play for this contract, and then they forget why they got the contract.
mhm. Uh, BX said we aren't English teachers mate. We're from the block project texture. Straight from the slums of Shaolin. Grimaldi from Benfica would bang a left back. There's a
Isn't
lot
it
of good players.
Fresneda, the left back? We're also looking at. Isn't he a left back? Fresneda, I think.
Grimaldo is the left back from Benfica. Yeah,
No, I
someone else.
know, but isn't Fresneda also a left back,
Fresneda, I
or is he a right
believe, is
Right,
back?
a
he was a
right
right.
back.
No, he was a right
Right.
back for
He's a
tonight.
right
Yeah.
back. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
If Leipzig knock out City, does that help us or hamper? I believe we want City to move a little further, and they're good enough to beat Leipzig at home.
Yeah.
City knocked out would be bad news. Definitely would be bad news. Need them to keep one eye on the Champions League.
Well, that's
I
why
told
that's why he said those next 3 games, you put 9 points up, and some teams
make
haven't
them
played,
forget about it, right?
right?
Like in boxing, make them have no reason to get back up off the
Yep.
floor. Why is Tottenham? Why is it that Tottenham can beat City regularly and we can't? They play a style of football that is the kryptonite to City. Haaland
Yeah.
is like Brock Lesnar of strikers. LOL.
We are
Um,
trying to play like City without City players. So if we're not perfect, right?
um,
Think about when we were
mhm,
perfect last season for 45 minutes, they had no answers. But
yep.
we can't do it for 90, right? We need to be able to do it
I
for
think we
90.
pushed it to maybe 60 minutes. Even we were good for
Yeah.
60.
Yeah.
Even
So until we can do it for a full match, until we have people that come off the bench and the drop off is insignificant, we're
yeah.
not going to be able to compete with them because we're playing exactly like them, right? That's where he got all his tutelage from. So um, we have to be perfect. We have to be and we can't make mistakes, and we always make
Make you
mistakes.
sound like a young Jedi there, Gary. Like
Yeah,
learning the ways of the Force.
it is. It is.
All
Young
right.
Jedi.
I think Fabio Vieira will get more and more exposure at that left aid as Granit Xhaka's powers diminish. Another
Yeah.
Jedi reference
Well,
right there.
but see, he need right now we're seeing as I think even Stan said a
Degradation.
degradation in his
Yeah.
play right now, and he needs to be rotated out just like everybody else, so he can be a little bit fresher for the next one. Fabio needs minutes so that he can get acclimated to this thing called football in the English
Yeah.
league, right? So I think they help each other, and it prolongs his, the positive play that he's had this
Um,
season. Xhaka, that is.
Definitely. Thunder Road, we have to end this barren run against City. That win
Mm.
against City has to come at some point. Hopefully we have more players, more big team players, Partey and Jesus at the Etihad. Gonna jump into a true or false section. I've got 17 statements here.
Come
False.
on.
True or
Sorry,
false?
I was
I'm
jumping
gonna
the gun.
go. It's gonna be kind of quick fire, but we can linger as long as we want to. But Stan, you're gonna start off.
Okay.
Pick a number between 1 and 17.
11.
11. Okay. Recency bias leads us to say Zinchenko has been more influential than Jesus. True
Say
or
the
false?
question again.
True or false? Recency bias leads us to say Zinchenko has been more influential than Jesus.
I would say false. And my reason for saying false is because you can definitely see that his absence is affecting us. I think that maybe there were chances that have come up in games since he's been absent that maybe if he'd been there, you may have seen a better result. That's
Okay.
my opinion.
Rebuttal, Gary, anything?
I don't. I was gonna say I was gonna say true because I thought I was being. It's the same response as what Stan just said.
Yeah,
I
because
mean, we
we
saw
we see him more recently now than Jesus,
no, but
right?
for me, it's the influence that Jesus had the first time he stepped on the pitch.
Hmm.
We didn't see that with Zinchenko,
Yeah,
right? We didn't see that, and maybe he took a step back, and that's fine. But the immediate impact that Jesus had when he stepped on the pitch until he was injured, Zinchenko's still he's kind of held, he's taken the baton, but he had a lead, right?
yeah,
He had a lead with that baton, and soon he's going to have to give that baton back.
yeah.
Somebody's going to
Oh,
have to take it from him. It doesn't matter. It might not be Jesus right now, but somebody might have to take that baton from him.
okay,
But yeah, no, I think yeah, recency for me is still Jesus.
okay.
Yeah,
You get to pick a number now, Gary, between 1
that's
and
that's
17.
that's what I got.
Tottenham
That's what
get battered.
Gary
Yes,
purchased. A Tottenham get battered mug.
yes.
Ah, nice one. That team get battered everywhere they
Everywhere they
go.
go, I don't. Yeah, I can't say that word, but yeah, no, I was gonna say seven, seven.
All right, lucky number 7 because
Mm.
of Bukayo Saka, right?
That's for one my favorite number, but yes, for
All right,
Pasaka as well.
there we go. Number 7, Fabio Teabag Vieira will be a starter next season. True or false?
He'll be a starter in the cup in Europa in the cup games for sure. Definitely. Like he's gonna take somebody's spot. I don't see it right now.
Okay. Stan?
Yeah, I'm with Phil.
Oh,
I'm,
all right,
I'm with Phil
Phil.
on that one.
What's the other Mitchell? What's the other Mitchell name?
Grant,
Grant.
Phil and Grant,
You're Grant.
the
You're
Mitchell
Grant.
brothers.
The Mitchell brothers.
Yeah. No, I
Oh,
Oh,
think
they
I
want
think I think Fabio Like if he had more game time this year, you could see him maybe starting next year. But the fact that he's still secondary,
But
you
you
know,
remember, Gary, he didn't say when. Doesn't necessarily mean first game of the season, but I do think
yeah,
at some point next season he'll be fully assimilated to start games in
yeah.
the league. I think.
Do we? Do
He'll
we?
have to play in the league, right? Because if we're playing Champions League, at
Yes.
some point he's going to have to start. But is he going to be considered like our first 11? I don't think so.
And that's the thing. Will our first 11 be more in the Champions League or will it be in the league? Because we're going to need to maintain both competitions. Or will it be a mix? You know what I mean? Interesting. Okay. Stan, pick a number between 1 and 17, not
Number
7,
6,
not 11. Okay, number 6.
Gabriel Megalegs. That's his number.
No. Yeah. White and Tomiyasu are good right backs going into next season. Tomiyasu and White are good for next season.
True. True.
Gary, happy with that?
I think I am.
Okay.
I think I am. I think that the problem is that we don't play them enough. We don't rotate them enough. So I think you ask Tommy Tomiyasu to come in and play, he will, but he's never. He needs like once again, he needs to be able to. They need to be able to play, and I think Stan said it earlier. There's certain games when Tomiyasu probably should play over Ben White, not because he's better, but just because it suits him better, and you can give Ben White a bit of time on the bench. You know what I mean? To either, and then he needs to be able to like we need to be able to close out certain games with players, right? But he also might need to start a game as well, just so we can
Hmm.
rotate the players in and out. So
Okay. Who's
yeah,
next? Gary's
Gary.
next.
I'm gonna
Pick a number.
go 5. Did I say 5? 5.
You can go 5. Yeah.
Yeah.
You should not compare Gabriel Megalegs and William Saliba. Each are different.
Yes, that is true. I always like. I mean, we see it right going into the City match. Everybody was like concerned about Saliba and how he is going to play against Harland, and he pretty much did a good job against him, right? He's the cool guy, and Gabriel's the fire guy, right?
Yeah.
He's blowing hot, right? Steam's coming out of his head, fire's coming out of his mouth, and Saliba's just cool, just calm
Yeah.
things down. So yeah,
And Bukayo Saka's minder too. I like that.
mm,
I like that about Saliba. And he likes to celebrate, you know. He likes to celebrate an Arsenal goal and a winner. Yeah, I definitely agree with you. They are two separate centre backs and should not be compared.
Yeah,
They're
one's
completely-
left-footed, one's right-footed. There you go.
that too as well.
All right, Grant. It's your question next, Grant.
Number 1.
Okay, number 1. It's a good one. It's good that the way you're picking these ones. Norway international teammates, but Martin has been more influential for his team than Erling.
Oh, true. Because otherwise, Man City would be atop of the league by some way.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't hear pundits having conversations there about, is Martin Odegaard sort of like making the team feel lopsided in some way, but you hear a lot of these conversations at the moment happening around Haaland, which, if you told me that just before he
Start of
joined,
season.
you'd be like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
But there is a
Yeah.
conversation being had.
Yeah. Definitely true. I think it's true, Gary. Martin Odegaard, we couldn't have said this at the start of the season. We hoped Odegaard could lure Haaland to Arsenal, but looking at it now, Martin has been more influential for Arsenal than Haaland has been for City.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we've shown it by being so dominant in the league, and you would expect City to be pretty dominant in the league with Haaland, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's. I guess it's like you said, it's probably just gonna have to wait and see how he does next year. He might be crazy, and then just like nobody can stop him. But for now, it's one of those things you catch. You got to catch these things early, right? So this is the early. This is it. I think next year is going to be crazy. The way the league is going to go, and the way City may be rebuilt and improved, because they're probably going to improve as well. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. I want BX wants Maitland Niles to pull the stick out of his arse and nail down that spot, but that's wishful thinking. Tony wants that as well, BX Skinner. Tony wants that.
No, he had. The spot was his. We had nobody there, right? It was him and Cedric, and it's like, you don't want it. What? You want to
Yeah,
play midfield where it's crowded, but we have a right back spot for you. You don't want it.
I thought you meant for him to nail down his spot at the team where he's on loan, so that they pay us money and keep him. That's what I thought you meant.
Oh,
yeah, yeah. I mean that
That's
that
what
could
my
be as
head
well.
was.
All right, Gary, pick a number.
yeah, you were just talking about Odegaard, so I'm gonna go with number 8.
Yeah, okay. Jorginho helps Arsenal fans' nerves when Partey is out injured.
He does now. He didn't when we signed him, right? He didn't when we signed him, and it is telling, and that just because a player doesn't look, or just because the team the player is on doesn't look so good, doesn't mean the player is bad, right? I mean, say we thought that same thing about Ramsdale, right? Ramsdale, man, he's a terrible goalkeeper. Well, he was on a bad team. They struggled. Comes to a better team, and he doesn't have to stop 30 plus shots in a
Mm,
season. So, yeah, no, I think Jorginho's been what we've wanted. We've always wanted an older player to be on the bench, right, and to be able to come in and play. Like
yep.
because we've seen that, we've seen City, we've seen Liverpool do that with the players they brought, the 30-year-olds that they brought in, right? And some of them are still there, right? So yeah, this has been good for us. We needed, always said we either needed some young, good talent or a future, but we definitely need some, as they say, old heads that can come in there and do a job. And
I
yeah,
I remember an interview from a footballer, but I can't remember who it was now, and they said they tried to come in and do everything for the team. They tried their best to be everything that they could, and you can't do that because you can't be successful if you're trying to do everyone else's job. And I think Jorginho has come in and played his game. He realizes he's not going to do for us what Partey does for us, but he's been very serviceable. And I think beating Aston Villa was the first time that without Partey we've actually won a game without Partey this season. Because I know against United away from home, we lost at Everton when Partey came off. So Stan, what's your thoughts on Jorginho? Has he helped Arsenal fans feel a little bit more relaxed when Partey's injured?
It's definitely helped me feel more relaxed when Partey's injured.
Yeah.
I had concerns when he was coming. I'm like, oh, here we go, another retirement home. Once we've been bitten before, right? But so
Hmm.
far, he's come in and he's showing that he looks like he's up for it. And why wouldn't he be? He has an opportunity to add to his trophy medal, his medals cabinet, whatever you want to call it. Um, Also, as well, now that we head into the Champions League and we'll be playing maybe some tricky games away from home, you may see opportunities where Partey and Jorginho could start in a double pivot to shore
Yeah.
things up. Or, we could change our formation and during a game if it's looking a bit shaky and we need to shore things up and Partey's in there, you can bring Jorginho off and put him in there as well. I don't see a problem with that. So it could be a good asset to have over the next 18 months. And maybe, because of where we are at the sharp end of the season, maybe it's a little bit more calming to have a Jorginho coming in rather than maybe somebody young like a Caicedo
Yeah.
who would
Yeah.
probably be settling in and make some mistakes. And there's somebody that, yeah, maybe in a year's time he's playing out of his skin. But we're fighting for the league now, today, this season, and our needs are a little bit different.
Yeah. If we go on to win that first league title for the first time in 19 years, we may look at January and say we were wrong. Our initial thoughts about Jorginho was incorrect. Some people were not very excited about even Trossard, and Mudryk is lifting. I saw Mudryk lifting weights this morning on my timeline, and with lifting weights will not score you goals, in my opinion. Anyway,
yeah. So Stan, did Edu and Arteta luck up again?
possibly.
What's
Did
that?
we
We we
fail? Did we
we,
fail up,
we
Stan?
fell up with the Jorginho
January.
move.
What,
Did
what do
we
you
fail up
mean?
with the Trossard move?
Um, like Caicedo, we chased Caicedo. We couldn't get him. Our
Yeah.
option was to
Chopped
pivot to
Mudryk.
Jorginho.
We didn't get him. We got Trossard. Did we? Is this the Emil
Happy
Smith-Rowe like
accident.
finally getting to play? Oh, it works. Look at that. Martinelli getting a chance to play. Oh, look at that. These players are okay.
Happy accidents, right? I
We've
mean,
bought
it
we've got
does.
we've got players for the here and now, which is important. The players that we were looking at, they may come good. I mean, Mudrik's having a bit of a terrible time at Chelsea. Who knows? It could have been different at Arsenal. But we've got players for the here and now. And because we're fighting for the league this season, it doesn't necessarily mean that we're automatically going to be fighting for it next season. So you got to make the most now, today.
Yeah.
But I don't think that was our
in a
plan
position.
now, right? That's the thing. It wasn't our plan.
May not. We pivoted.
Win now. Our plan was
change, man.
to make sure we could. Well, no, we changed because we couldn't get our first target, right? Like if we get Mudryk, do we get a Jorginho, right? Or if we got Casado, would we, like you said, would that help us? It wouldn't help us immediately. He needs a little bit of time, but I think he's playing in the league. He's starting in the league, so him playing against any team won't be a surprise to him. Playing in the Arteta system might be a little bit of it might be that same kind of thing where you're saying Jorginho's passes just aren't as crisp as Partey, so it's a little bit slower, but the job's getting done. Same thing, right? He might make a mistake here or there because he's younger, but he's younger, so he can recover.
Let me get this comment in while you're thinking about that, Stan. I think wasn't too hot on Jorginho, says 00 Slice X, because when he played against us, he didn't look that great. He wasn't one of the players we feared, but I'm glad to give him time to change my mind. Doing good so far. And,
change of environment, look at what, as I said earlier, with Willian, and he's played something like he's played like 17 games.
That's a great point.
Fulham, and he's the times that I've seen him, I'm like, what? Damn, who's that guy? We should sign that guy.
Yeah, that's a great point, because Chelsea right now does not look like a ship that's floating. It looks like a ship that's taking on water.
They're going to let some good players go because they have to.
BX wants to fight for the double. It's the European and League double. Okay, Stan, your turn. Pick a number.
Let's go with number 3.
Number 3. We could not have predicted Arsenal would be top of the league in February.
Unless you had, as I say, I've got 2 balls, none of which are crystal. So there was no way on this earth that I don't do tarot cards. No. I mean, it was. I mean, look at where we finished the season before and the season before that. I mean, we were like, okay, it's imperative that we try to find a way to get into the top 4. That top 4 at the moment looks to be a given. We've got bigger fish to fry right now.
Yeah. The one thing that we did, which we haven't done, well, we've done it, but we haven't done it enough in January, is increase our odds. Put the odds, may the odds be forever in your favor kind of thing. We created more odds for our favor. Like if, Zinchenko and Jesus worked out, damn. And it did, right?
Yep.
If Jorginho and Trossard works out, ooh, yes. Bang. It increases your odds. It doesn't, because we were fine before, but now we just gave ourselves that extra little bump that we knew we needed.
The one thing I thought you were going to go
3 guys coming back as well. 3 good players coming back.
Jesus, Nelson, and Emil Smith.
4 really at some point, right? It's going to be 4. So
the one thing I thought you were going to talk about, Gary, was
no, we said that.
Partey,
Partey as well. Yeah, Partey as well. Sorry, 4. Yeah.
The one thing I thought you were going to talk about, Gary, was you mentioned January, which is valid, but also pre-season. We hit the ground running right at the start of the league when the league program started.
Yep, and that's where Jesus came in, because I think he brought that. It's time to play football right now, not on the first game of the season. No, right now, right? This is right now. Like as soon as he stepped on the pitch, it's like I came here to play some football. Let's play some football, right?
Yeah.
And you've seen that from the team, and we saw the resiliency in that. What was it in the Liverpool match, right? No matter how many times they score, we always came back, right, and took the lead back from them. And we've been building on these little things over and over and over again. And they, when we don't see it, we're like, why are we not playing this way?
Definitely. And, look at those W's. Look at those W's up until that hyphen before the World Cup. We dropped 1 loss and 1 draw in 14 games.
Can I just say as well that in this time between now and Jesus being ready to come back. I want them to hold a behind closed doors game, maybe with like the under 23s or something, to get him into the game speed, so that we can ease him in nice and
Yeah.
quick, rather than
Yeah.
he comes on for the first game and rather than off the bench and he does a Thomas Partey, he breaks down in
Yeah.
the game. Let's ease him back, but let's do it properly.
The dangerous thing as well, Stan, is you bring him on with 15 minutes in a game to go, and we're leading 2-0, and the crowd is going ole, ole, and opposition players don't like that and have a kick at them. You know what I mean? But yeah, we could not have predicted Arsenal would be top of the league. We all wanted a really, really good start. We thought that we could get 5 on the spin. But when has Arsenal really started with 5 wins to start the league program? And we did it
Mhm.
this time. And you're right, Stan. This year we have a chance. We may not have this chance next year. Every year, teams try to improve themselves. They go into the market. Jesus has 20 Champions League goals. All of our attackers will be looking to open their accounts. Gary, you get to pick a number, Gary.
So let's go with 9, Jesus.
All right. I like the way these numbers are following in a sequence here. Is Ramsdale good enough to win big trophies? Now, I say big trophies because he's in a team that's probably going to win the Premier League. But is Ramsdale good enough to win more trophies?
Wow, I say yes. I say yes. Just because I
True.
think, I mean, yes. I mean,
Opposition.
you know why? Because I think we're just that good all over the pitch. He's going to have two. He's got the two towers in front of him.
Yeah.
You know what teams have a Saliba and a Gabriel like level players sitting in front of their goalkeeper? You know, I think we've got. So I think you got to. I don't think you can have a perfect 11. There's always going to be one or two players that aren't at the same level. And if Ramsdale isn't at a level of a Saliba, for example, that's fine. But he's serviceable and he'll get us what we need. So I think yeah, no, I think he's good enough for us to get trophies. I don't think no, he's fine. I mean, he's I think he's put in a good CV to maybe be the England number one, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, no, I think he's fine. Yeah,
Okay. Stan?
Well, we managed to win trophies with Manuel Almunia, so I think we can win trophies with Ramsdale. And just what Gary was just saying there, I think surely he has to be in contention now to be the England number one. And I was reading today that Jordan Pickford has just re-signed again with Everton. Is that going to be helpful to him, or could that damage him? Because if that team continues to go down, then it's not going to put the goalkeeper in the most favourable light. So I think Ramsdale is going to be the England number one very soon. And yes, I think we can win trophies with him.
Yeah. Plural. Do we
Did we
think
win
we should...
haven't we won an FA Cup with him?
No, that was
Was that
the other...
Leno? Was that Bertie?
that was Emmy.
yeah,
Oh,
that's
of
I mean,
course, yeah, bloody hell, yeah, of course. And can I
Big,
just say as well, I was a really big Leno fan.
yeah.
I found it difficult to let go of Leno because I thought he was quite a competent keeper.
yeah. BX Gunner says Ramsdale started the revolution last season. He's our man. I
Yep.
just feel our rivals don't rate Ramsdale.
I
I'm
said
not
probably.
listening. I'm not listening to our
I
rivals.
don't rate Hugo Lloris, so
No, I mean,
Um,
if you think about all when we were struggling, right? I mean, those games could have been a lot worse if it wasn't for Ramsdale.
mm.
I mean, he's
Is
making
he
some
the
really good
third
saves,
best?
right? I mean, even in a City match, he made some good saves. I mean, couldn't stop everything because of the way the defense played, but I think
Is he
he's
up
he's
there with a De Gea or a Pope?
well, De Gea. I don't know what De Gea it depends on which De Gea you're talking about. Is it De Gea that puts the ball in his own goal, or
David.
is it De Gea that's unstoppable? Because he is a roller coaster. He's some days, most of the time he's up, but then he gives you some really poor days. You're like, damn, how did that happen, right? So
Yeah.
Um, he's older, so he's not going to be consistent. So you're going to need better in front of him. I mean, that's a problem I see as well. It sounds like Martinez and Veron are playing pretty good right now. So that back line is pretty solid for them,
Right.
especially the way like I watched that game and it's like There's some, it's some good defense being played, but there are two good offensive players on, both sides of the pitch. So I think they
Right.
did pretty well.
How
I'm
I'd
gonna.
rate how I'd rate Ramsdale is he's not on the level yet of a David Seaman, but I don't think, other than experience, I don't think he's too far away from a Jens Lehmann.
Yeah.
Mm.
Is Allison and Ederson ahead of him? Of course, right? But he's the next level, I believe. Ramsdale.
They have the
Okay.
experience on him, and they played in the biggest matches out there. So until he's done that, he won't even know. He
All
won't
right.
even know. So
I'm gonna pop out for a second, but I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna give Stan the next number, and you guys talk about this next
14.
number. Stan, 14. Lokonga can come back to Arsenal next season from his Palace loan. He can come back to Arsenal next season. Sambi Lokonga.
Well, my answer to that would be that statement is true, provi- providing he's been educated at Crystal Palace and he comes back with a high level of education to play the position that he's been chosen for. Because the thing with Lokonga is, I can see a football player in there, but it's his position. His positioning on the pitch, sometimes he looks like he's a little bit confused of what he's supposed to do. And if he can't learn from somebody like Patrick Vieira, then I don't think he'd be able to learn from anyone. So I think he can come back to Arsenal. Saliba came back. But
mhm.
going out on loan doesn't mean you're banished. It should mean you're either putting a player in a shop window, and I'm looking at maybe Tavares looks like his, is going to be sold, because the amount of money, his value must have gone up quite a lot from what we paid for him. I think with a Lokonga, we're hoping that he can come back as a better player, and I think they have a longer term eye on Lokonga. What do you reckon, Gary?
Yes. Well, I want him to do good. I think he needs more seasoning, so he needs more minutes. It's almost like he needed to get that kind of uh, uh, Balogun type experience where he just playing football every
Has
day.
he had minutes at Palace yet? I've not been following
Yeah,
Palace.
I
A
was looking
couple
at
of
his
games since,
stats. He's
yeah. What
played, like, I don't know if this is including Arsenal as well, but he's played nine games. He started three. He's averaging about 35 minutes a game. So
any idea on his ratings or anything like that? How he's being viewed?
he's rated 10th, like on Sofa score for in Crystal Palace. So they got him rated pretty high, I believe. Um, so yeah, no, I, he needs more football for me, and I don't think he's going to get enough of it there at Crystal Palace, just because he's only going to be there from January onward.
Do you know what
So,
surprises me about Lokonga the most is, and you mentioned like he needs football. It's not like he's come from another team's academy.
yep,
It came from a league where he was the captain and you would imagine that he was playing all of the time
yeah.
as their captain. Probably one of the first names on the team sheet. So it must be a
Do we
crap league
think
over
there's
there. It's a really
well,
bad league over there.
do
I
we
don't know.
think there's a place for him in the squad next season with an extra competition in the Champions League, which will mean he could play cup games, he could play some league games if he gets that experience.
Well, yeah, right. Because
Declan Rice.
Part is the main man. We're looking to upgrade as a backup to eventually take over from Partey at some point. Maybe we go back in for a Casado or something like that. But then if El Nenny's going, Lokonga should be looking to come in to take up that place for El Neni, but not
Yeah,
at that stage where you're winding out. You're
right.
joining and you're
And
looking to try and progress up.
maybe that year for El Neni helps Lokonga gain more football,
He
more
will be the third.
experience.
The transition, yeah.
He will
Yeah,
be number three right off the bat, because
yeah,
El Nenny's not going to start the season playing
yeah.
football anyway. So he should be comfortable knowing he's going to get those minutes, whatever those minutes are, and those starts if they come.
Okay.
But
Uh,
he's got the experience. He's going to have experience now, because I think he's playing. I don't know. Like I said, he's played 9 matches already for them. I think
for
9 matches
Palace
for them.
already.
I think so. Let
Well,
me.
that's just happened, right? He just moved there a few weeks ago.
Okay,
Um,
so no, I
he
have
got
that wrong
some.
then.
I think
Yeah.
he got 60 minutes. He came off and Eze scored for Palace, but he did
Okay.
get 60 minutes. Lokonga got his first start against Brentford, played well with partnership with Decore, subbed around 60 minutes. I actually thought Crystal Palace had won that game last weekend, but Brentford came with a really, really late goal.
Okay.
And
So he's played
our,
3 games. He's played in 3 matches. He started 1.
mhm.
So,
I'm sure there must have been a conversation with Patrick Vieira about
mm,
giving him a reasonable amount of minutes,
yeah.
that the loan was given to happen. Okay, Gary, you get to pick. Do you want to know the numbers you picked from?
Let's see. I think we haven't picked. Let's go with the guy who was supposed to be our captain this year, number 3.
Number 3 was taken,
Oh,
is
number 3 is
already
already
taken.
taken. So let's go
Yep.
with Ben White then. Number 4.
Number 4, Reese Nelson will be at the club next season as a backup for Saka. I add, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, for me, it all depends on how the rest of the time he has come, how he performs coming back. Because see, he's been injured at the wrong times, and maybe it's just bad luck. But can't have that bad luck be so consistent. You know what I mean? Like, you get to see him play for a little bit, and then he's injured.
Mm-hmm.
This time he comes out, he scores 2 goals, he plays a
Two,
little bit, then he's injured again. It's
two
like
goals against Forest. Yeah.
you just can't. It's just a really bad luck for him, and maybe the red shirt and him just don't match. So I, only way he's staying is if he comes back and we see the same kind of play from him when we're playing when we're resting Saka, because we're gonna have to rest Saka with some of these midweek games, and we have winnable games that he can play in. All right,
I
so
saw.
I
I
right now I would say based on right now, no,
Good shout.
no,
Yeah.
no,
Good
no.
shout. Another loan would suit Lakonga. I say Burnley will take him, be promoted. I
Yeah, I
say
mean
Burnley
it
will be
sucks for the
promoted.
Anderlecht team to have their
Yeah.
captain come to Arsenal and we can't get him on the pitch because he doesn't look like he knows how to play football.
Big up Dred Zeppelin just
Yeah,
joined us here.
yeah.
Stan, I don't know if you heard the question.
No.
True or false? Reese Nelson will be at the club next season.
Hmm.
And I added as a backup to Saka.
You hesitate just like me because it's a tough one.
I think maybe false. And I think it will maybe do an evaluation of him this season. And I don't mean that Justin is on the pitch, as a personality and everything, because he's been away on loan. He's supposed to have, he's been away for a period, but you'd like
Mm.
to think that someone's matured in that time. So they're probably looking at all aspects of him, his character, how he is around the other players, as well as on the pitch. So I think it's going to depend on how he's graded at the end of the season. But if I'm gonna put money on it, I'm gonna say no.
Yeah.
I think what you need is a player who's going to be willing to sit behind Bukayo Saka
It
for.
isn't that. I can't play him if he's not on the bench. He's not
Mm.
And
on the bench because he's
can you
in the
can you
Well,
can you see a game where, let's say, we're in the Champions League
mm.
and we're like, playing against the Barcelona or a Madrid, and we want to make some changes? Can you see Saka coming off for Reece Nelson? I can't. We need somebody who's going to be a little bit more competitive, I think.
Not in the Champions League, but in a league game, I can see that happening next season. We're playing West Ham away from home. We're playing, you know, who Southampton if they're still in the league, or Wolves if they're still in the league. But Saka can't play every game, and I
He's
think he just got the record right, Gary. 60 some games,
yeah.
consecutive games. Bukayo Saka's played for us. So
Wow,
that's a record.
It's been 3 years.
that's more than a goalkeeper.
Yeah, it's been 3 years since Reese has played over 10 matches for Arsenal.
Yeah.
Because
And
you got
it's
to look at
I
it,
know.
right? Sorry, go on, Gary.
No, I was just gonna say it's been a while since he's been able to play. Like, he can't come off against Sack. He can't come on for Saka because he's probably more likely going to be in the trainer's office than on the bench. You know what I mean? That's why I'm saying it's a little unlucky for him because we don't really get to see him play. This is like that whole Ramsey thing. He comes in, he plays for 3, 4 games. You're like, damn, that's really good. Boom, he's injured, and then you
Mm-hmm.
And
lose him for a while. He's out for a couple months.
Yeah.
Comes back. Like, for me, the team can't work that way. You have to be availability's got to be key when you're fighting for minutes, right? He's fighting for minutes. He shows us something good, and then we lose him. It's like, damn, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think he's barely trusted to play with us at the level that we're at. And next season, we should be at a higher level, operating at a higher level,
Yeah.
because we're going to be in more difficult competitions. So everybody needs to raise their
Elevate.
game a little bit. And I
Yeah.
think he's struggling now. So can he make that? Can he make that jump?
Mhm.
We don't think so, huh?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Well,
Unsure.
not with what he's not going to get enough minutes. One, because he might not be able to play, because he might not be
But
available to play.
who? Okay, so we want Saka to rest, but who's going to come in for him? You know, that's the question, really.
Someone that we buy in the summer,
Yeah.
maybe.
Okay, but it's got to be a player who, again, is willing to not have a full part. You know, except you're behind Bukayo Saka, one of the best players in the Premier League.
Maybe Marquinhos comes
It's
back.
it's a tough
And
one. How is Marquinhos doing? Does anyone know how he's doing in Norwich? We must check on that next
No.
podcast. Stan, you get to pick a number.
I will pick number 17.
Okay, Granit Xhaka has changed his persona on the field this season.
True.
Do
He's
you
like,
think he's willfully done that? Do you think he's willfully set out to be a better person?
it's,
You know,
I think it leads to a change in his position. He seems to be out of the danger by being played further up the pitch,
the red
and
zone.
and he's how many? I think he's probably scored more goals already this season than he ever has in the season, right?
Great.
Because he's nearer to the goal. So he's being more valuable to us in that position, and we do rely on that experience that he brings. So far so good, but the season's not over yet. You know, the red mist could
I
rear its head at some point.
I
Like,
have seen
we
him
still have
get
remember, we still
more.
have visions of Mikel Arteta sprinting up the pitch. No, Xhaka, leave it. He's not worth it. To like pull him away from danger. So
Yeah,
you know,
that was against Tottenham, right? When he was going to get
he's
into
like a
some
gazelle,
aggro.
wasn't he?
Yeah.
I don't think Mikel Arteta ran that fast when he played for us.
No, he didn't. He was the metronome in midfield, but he didn't have to run that fast. Theo Walcott was doing that at that time. Yeah, I think he's changed the way he plays. I think he's changed the temperament, Gary, a little bit.
Yeah.
He's a different person this season
Yeah. Marquinhos hasn't played yet, so
for Norwich.
that's
Wow.
So
Okay.
that's not good.
Has
Not
he got an
great.
But he's
injury? Has he got an injury or something?
Oh, he
like
has an
that?
injury now.
I think
Oh,
he might
okay.
have an injury.
Which is not this is another bad sign when you're trying to make it onto a squad that you're not available. You're talking about Xhaka, right?
Granite. Yeah.
Has he changed his persona?
Is he a different person? Is
I
the
think
real
he's I
Granite
you know I
somewhere
think
else?
he's got less pressure on him now, in the sense that where he was being asked to be the savior multiple times, and he can't do that. All right, now he doesn't have to do any of that stuff anymore because Partey's around. Now he doesn't have to be the glue as much because Erdogan is picking up the slack there. So I
Mhm.
think a lot of things have been taken off of his a lot of responsibilities have been taken away from him, which is fine. He's been, and like you said, he's been pushed up further up the pitch, so he's less of a liability with that. But I think it was more he was trying to do too much and he can't. Sometimes you need to be able to play within yourself, and I think he might have been overdoing it a little bit, trying to do too much and then losing his way. So no, I think he's good. And like you said, we always fear that the mist will come back, but even now we see the mist start
Yeah.
to fester,
See the
but it's in a
steam,
good
but
way,
it
especially in a
doesn't.
good way, because you're like, we need that once in a while because this team is pissing us off. Right, this team
Yeah.
is laying into us and stuff like that. So we need him to be able to bring that one. He's got it in there, and it's bubbling up. It's bubbling up, right? And the way
Yeah.
teams are playing us, it's needed sometimes.
I think he's got.
He just needs to be able to. We need to have that one guy that can
Yeah.
stand in his face and say stop. I
He's
don't know who
got.
that is.
He's
I don't
got.
know who that is. It's probably Jesus, but he's not on the pitch right now. So
He's got 4 yellow cards this season, which is pretty good for Granite. No red cards, 3 goals, 5 assists, and most of that has come before the World Cup.
Good
Thunder Road
numbers
said,
there. Good numbers there. The assists, 5 assists there as well, right? It's good
yeah,
numbers.
yeah. Lonnie's here. Alonso's in the house, so we're gonna get Alonso to pick a number pretty soon as well.
Hello there.
We made an offer for Rafinha last summer. I think we revisited the right wing again this summer. Need to upgrade over Nelson.
I thought we made a bid in January for him as well.
Yeah, 70 million. We tried to get him in
Barcelona said,
January.
no, we're not letting him go. So
Supposedly was unhappy. He's unhappy at
yeah,
Barcelona.
you know what, how many
Is he?
times how many times how many times how many times is a player going to say no to Arsenal, and how many times are they going to go somewhere else and for some reason it doesn't work out? How many times?
I don't know. He must have shown us a leg somewhere.
Like at
Must
some
have
point
shown us a
Arteta's got to
leg.
go, here's my track record. You don't come play for me, Mudrik. You don't come play for me, Rafina, right?
Yeah,
At some
yeah,
point he's going to be able to say my record is you come play for me, Trossard. You come
yeah.
play for me, Jorginho,
You
right?
compare for me these nuts.
I don't know about no, that's not no.
No, no,
Funny,
no,
but
no,
no.
no. All right,
No, but at
Alonso.
some point he's gonna say, look, you come play for me and you're not like you're Jesus, right? You're
Mm.
Zinchenko, right? People have said Jesus, he works part-time for City. We see him play for us, you're like, all right. He's got an eye for talent. If Arteta's looking at you and says, I want you, and they go after you, they have a plan. And most of the time it works out so far. I mean, I think when they go and when they take shortcuts, they lose every time. Because Lakonga, Marquinhos, um, I think those are the two key ones right now. But when they take shortcuts, it never works because those players need more than they can offer. And
Hmm.
Arteta won't play you if he can't trust you, and he doesn't trust those players enough. That's why they're not playing here right now, right? So
Yeah,
I kind of feel like when he goes after you, and he's been proving us wrong of all the moves he's making, he's been proving us right that he's been proving himself right that he knows kind of what he wants and how to use these players. Because once he's feel comfortable with you, he just plays you right. He brought Ramsdale in and
yeah.
said, once you're ready to go, you start.
He does. He does have comfort levels with certain players. Um, Alonso, we got 6 numbers left in a true or false. We're gonna each one of us is gonna get 2 each now. So, Alonso, your numbers are between 2, 10, 12, 13, 15, or 16.
16.
All right. Balogun will be striker for Arsenal in the future.
True. I say true because I think Arteta sees what he's doing in France, and maybe he values him more than Nketiah, maybe. Um, and I think we all can agree that we need 3 strikers at least on the team like they did back in the day. We need to have Van Persie, Adebayor, maybe uh, Bentner or someone else, right? So, we'll see what happens. But from the looks of it, I believe Arteta believes that uh, Balogun could be number 2 coming into next season, hopefully next season.
Mhm.
Because we all hate to see Balogun's talent get wasted, like it has been. Um, but I think Tony always mentions that he should have been on loan last year.
Tony
And
does. Yeah.
one of his academy kids. um, but I think Bellingham has every right to be here next year. I think the loan will help him out and his confidence because he was not happy being on the bench or at least not playing for the first team. So yeah, true. I think Bellingham will be back at Arsenal next year.
Yeah. I believe it too, Gary. I think maybe you do as well because monies are going to go to midfield, right, Gary?
Yeah, no, well, my thing is if he's coming back, he's playing, right?
Hmm.
So somebody has to not play as much.
Yeah, minutes will get distributed.
Who is that that doesn't
Well, listen, we
less minutes?
saw
Like, and Ketty has told us if he doesn't start, he can't play.
he did say that. He said he needed
Okay,
games, right?
the
That's what he
games,
said.
and now he's got the games. So, but like, if the end of the season goes the way we plan, he won't get those minutes. He'll have to
Yeah.
come on and give us, the similar performances when So when if this if we if this was a typical year and Nketiah was struggling like he's done for us in the past, and Balogun was playing the way he is, no brainer. Balogun's number 2 behind him
Mhm.
when he comes back, right?
Yeah,
Is the only reason why
we,
Nketiah number 2 right now because or number 2 next year is because we had to lean on him all this
we've
year,
seen.
or is Balogun's performances overshadowing what Nketiah is doing? So it doesn't really matter. If you need to go out and get a striker, you said I can get you a nice 22, 23-year-old striker who at some point was leading Liga. You go, yeah, he's probably at least your number 2 striker, right?
Yeah, when you would
Right?
you
He's
like? Yeah, would you like the leading striker in France to come play for Arsenal? I'd say yes. What would
Nah,
you
nah, we're all right.
But I mean, you know what I mean. So like, and his skill sets maybe he won't be able to play the same. He won't have the same freedom here, but the skill sets are there. And like, Nketiah's gone off and played at lower leagues and whatnot, and we've
Mhm.
never seen those skills.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like we're
yeah,
seeing skills. He's volleying the ball out of the air on an attack, right from like the 18. Like
Taking
when's the
pens,
last time you've seen Eddie volley the ball from anywhere?
he's taking penalties as well. I think
yeah.
the
He's got a
So
confidence.
little bit of Ian Wright. He's got a little bit of Thierry Henry in him as
So yeah,
well.
so I think it's for me like
Uh,
and you know what? Usually we re up on players to improve their worth, right? To secure them for a bit. This might be one of those cases where we did it knowing full well that we know we might have to sell him because we won't be able to play him, and he's going to want minutes, and he's shown that he can play and start for a team,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Going
What?
back
What? Can I
to
say? Why would anyone want to sell a striker that's better than Mbappe?
exactly
And
Do you know
Neymar
what I mean?
and Messi.
Exactly.
priceless.
You've got to have a look at it up close in your own team because you're thinking to yourself, well, it was only a season ago that we was looking into bringing a forward and we could have paid up to 80, 90 million euros. If we've already
Mhm.
got one on our hands, then it solves a problem.
You're
You know,
letting money slip through your through your fingertips. You're
if you
letting
sell
money.
him, you've only got to go out and replace him. And at the moment, is there
Exactly.
anybody around that age group who's doing any better in Europe? No.
No.
So
He's developing. He's
Either
developing
he
there,
goes
and he
back on loan or he's your number 2.
mm, go.
And you can't sell him unless you can sell him for close to 100, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It's the only way it makes
Um,
any sense.
going back to Reece Nelson Thunder, how much would we pay considering we just tied down by Saka? Thunder Road says, "Good question. I could see a signing in the Fabio Vieira range for a right winger. Um, I think with both showcasing great quality and Jesus, we have great options going into next season. We used Gabriel Jesus a lot
no.
in those 14 games leading up to the World Cup. He got injured. Now we're using Nketiah up. I think it's got to be a mix again for the final 12, 15 games. Just woke up from my obligatory morning slash at 3:25 a.m. and you are on. What's cooking, people?
That's strange
Uh,
because my obligatory slash is usually about 5:25 every morning.
we need a number from Stan next. 2,
Um,
10, 12, 13, or 15.
12, please.
12. El Neni is a vital part of squad harmony and has earned another year. We kind of touched on this.
Yeah, we did touch on that, and I think it's viable. We retain him so that we're able to sell him at a point that suits us and get something back on the money that we've invested in him. Yeah, I think he's an important part of the squad, and I don't see any problems with him still being around.
Exactly. Don't forget to shake twice. Bungle. Number 2 was an option as well.
Make sure you wash your hands.
Well,
All
number
right.
2 and shaking twice was an option. Number 2 is an option for
Mhm.
Mr. Bungle as well, where he's at right now. Gary, we kind of touched on El Neni. Kind of
Yeah,
saying.
no, it's I if the understanding is that they're just holding on to him to make sure he can rehab, then perfect. But I don't think him coming back as our number 3 um,
Mhm.
center mid behind Partey is
It's a
really
bad
good
thing.
business. Is good planning.
Okay. Alonso. El Neni's a vital part of squad harmony and has earned another year. Alonso.
I believe so. I mean, he's been around for a long time. I think in the back room, in the dressing room and off the pitch, he's very important for youngsters. Um, he still has value. I think he still adds leadership. And who knows, he may be getting his coaching badges as well for the future.
I believe he
Yeah.
is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's good for his family as well. I'm sure he like London. I don't have an issue with it at all.
Yeah.
All right.
And
Cool.
I never bring up the fact that he is a, as they say, team player and a good locker room player. But and the reason why I don't bring it up as much is because I feel like we keep bringing in those players that can and do that exactly. Yet we have more than
Well,
we had going into, like, you think about over the last year and a half, we've got more players now that are good in the locker room now than we
well,
had
we
before,
didn't have
right?
that 4 years ago. We didn't have that,
Yeah,
as well.
yeah.
So I think it can't be underestimated. Gary, we've got four numbers. I'm enjoying this segment. I think true or false is a good one. We're enjoying it. Gary, pick wisely, Gary. 2, 10, 13, or 15.
I want to say lucky 13.
Okay. Kivior will play in the Europa or Premier League this season. Our
Yes.
new shiny
Yeah, yeah,
toy.
he will play. I think he'll play, and he'll play. Yes. I mean, I mean, all the metrics are there for him to be able to play and be able to make up for any mistakes that he might possess perform
Right.
on the pitch. So I
Okay.
would be disappointed if he doesn't play, because I would feel like we wasted that time. But also, I think it was already his off season anyways, right? So I think if he didn't play, it wouldn't probably be that bad. But I would like to see him play just to get some minutes on the pitch, and then he'll be ready to go, ready to
Yep.
go when the season starts up
I
again.
think BX Gunner, we have 15 league games and we have maybe 6 or 7 Europa if we go all the way. So we're looking at about 22 games. Stan, will Kivior play this season?
I'd like to see him play at some point, just so that Gabriel Megalegs is aware that he has competition. I think it's really healthy for players to be aware that nobody has a nailed on place, and there's always somebody working hard to take your place if you get
Mhm.
red carded or out. So I'd like to see him play. How are we going to see otherwise? We
Yeah.
brought him for a specific reason. He's a left-footed centre back, which means that he's competition for one player and one player only. He's got
Mhm.
to give it an opportunity for us to see what he can do, so that the manager even can think, okay, if I've got an emergency and I've got to use this guy, he's going to have a better mind about using him if he's already played him, rather than
Or
thinking,
an injury.
I'm panicking
Yeah.
now. Maybe I should play someone else there, and because I'm not so sure. We've got to have a look at this guy.
Yeah. Or an injury. Alonso, Kivior could very well be a dark horse signing. What's your thoughts? Will he play?
I hope so because I think Gabriel Magalhaes has had a habit of giving us the ball and being too careless at times. But with that said, I think QR could be a very viable player in the future. Just to see some action in the Europa League would be kind of cool to see. If he doesn't get any playing time, it would be there.
Mhm.
But I was excited to hear that we were trying to get our backup for Gabriel Magalhaes. I hope it's sooner than later.
Okay. You've just earned yourself a number, Alonso.
Oh, fantastic.
2, 2, 10, or 15?
I go with 10.
10. Is Mr. Tom an Arsenal fan in disguise?
He's always in this podcast, and he hosts also the Full Nelson podcast, which can be on Wednesday nights and also hit review nights on Saturdays, if I'm correct. Anyway, yeah, I think he has to be on the show. I think he has to be on the trip also, talking amongst us Gooners. Yeah, he's welcome anytime. He's earned a spot on both podcasts, I believe, and it's good to chat with him. He's a nice guy, and he's funny. So yeah.
Yeah, I think we're rubbing
Funny,
off on
funny,
him,
funny
Stan.
how? Like I'm a clown? Like I'm here to amuse you? What do you mean funny?
Stan, is Mr. Tom an Arsenal fan in disguise?
Look, it's 2023, right? And the key word these days is acceptance. So I just think it's time that Mr. Tom came out. He should just come out, admit it. He'll be accepted, and come and join the
Yeah.
family.
Yeah, it's a family. If You'll be brought in, like they say in Fever Pitch. You'll be brought in to a family that loves you. Gary,
Yeah, no,
is he an Arsenal
he's
fan in
dreaming. He's
disguise?
dreaming right now about when Henri came on and scored that goal against Leeds. He's dreaming about that right now. He plays up like it upsets him, but I know deep down he's just like he's doing flips and jumping jacks and all that stuff. He enjoyed to see that because his hero scored a goal.
And yeah,
So
you've got his crisps.
yes, yes.
All
Yeah,
right, we've established Mr. Tom is a legend. I threw that one in for a little bit of brevity, a little bit of fun. I'll do that a little bit more often. I think I like this section. We'll do this more often.
A living legend.
Stan, there's 2 numbers left, and you get to choose and the one that Gary gets, and you get to choose the one by elimination that you get. 2 or 15.
Well, I think, Mr. Bungles had me thinking about his midnight jaunts across the passage, so I'm going to go for number 2.
It's funny how these are sort of very well suited to the people who have picked the numbers. I think you've all found the numbers that you wanted to be asked. So here it is, Stan. Eddie Nketiah has filled in for Gabriel
I knew it'd be a
Jesus.
stinker.
Eddie Nketiah has filled
Yes.
in for Gabriel Jesus adequately. Adequately being the word. Eddie has filled in for Gabriel Jesus adequately.
I feel really, it's a hard one to answer because there was at the beginning part, it was very promising and I gave him the credit as it was due. But in the last couple of games, man, six chances around
Yeah,
I've
but
counted
you got to take in the whole body of work.
adequately. Well, you know what I'm going to say? I'm going to say yes, because at the end of the day, Arsenal is still top of the league. It's not like he's personally, it's not like he's gone out there and dented our chances or what have you. So I'm going to go, yes, he has adequately filled in.
Gary?
Yep, he did. This is what we wanted out of him. He came in, he gave us essentially spot duty. Did we want him to be playing for like 3-4 months? No, but he's been able to do that, and this is similar to how the season ended last season when we're like, well, Stan was like, well, we should just bring in El Neni. We didn't do that the first time. I think we had brought El Neni in, we may have gotten one of those wins we needed,
Mhm.
right? One of the wins we needed because we lost 3 in a row, but
Yeah. Last
were we
season.
going to expect him to be able to play out the rest of the season at the levels? No, no. So that's where, like you said, he's at the point where that's why you needed a third striker, regardless, right? You needed to have a player that you can say, Eddie, give me 60 minutes. You're coming off after about 60 minutes, so just go. Don't like he might be saving himself for 90 minutes, and I don't know why. Like if he goes out and balls out for 60 minutes and he scores 2 goals and he needs to come out, they're going to take him out, right? But he scored 2 goals, right? As opposed to 90 minutes, and we're like talking about these missed goals opportunities, right? I don't want him saving himself. That's not what players do. When they get that opportunity to score, the only thing they can think about is scoring, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's where you say, like, well, Harlan played like whatever 70, 80 minutes in that match, got the one opportunity, and he did not waste it. He did not waste it, right? I mean, he made sure when he put that ball into a spot, nobody's going to get there, and that's what Nketiah needs to do, and that's how that position is played. So yeah, no, I think he's given us what we want. He can't. He's not a starter for us just yet. He's not a number 1 for us, anyways, just yet.
Might just say a quick point before you go to Lonnie as well. It's such a fickle conversation and very fine margins, right? Because the assist that Eddie put into Odegaard, that was on a plate, but it doesn't go in, so it doesn't count. So it goes down as another game that Eddie doesn't make
Not
a
an assist.
contribution. Yeah,
It's
do you know
not
what I mean?
never an
So,
assist until it's converted. You know what I mean?
yeah. So it's
Harlan can say that
difficult, right?
like 10, 20 times this season. That's the problem. So he made the mistake in the last one, but he can
Yeah.
probably go. There's like 20 opportunities
Or
where
Kevin De
I
Bruyne can
needed
say
like
it.
Jesus to score, and
Yeah.
he didn't score. Right? Jesus probably missed a lot of Erdegaard's scoring opportunities that he provided. So
Welcome, Stefan, for joining us as well.
Yeah.
Yes, it's been some toilet humor here. Alonso, we're having some fun with this true and false though. Get you to weigh in, and Eddie Nketiah has filled in for Gabriel Jesus
I
adequately.
mean, yeah, I thought that he's done an adequate job, yes, because Eddie hasn't given up trying, and I think that's important for strikers. Like he hasn't given up, and he's not the one to give up on chances either. So it's unfortunate that the goals and chances he's gotten haven't fallen his way. But I think the more he tries and keeps on trying, it'll fall for him. But
Mhm.
there's those important games that he didn't score or was unlucky to not to score. So, you know, yeah, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with him being there. I think that he's done an okay job. Like Stan has said, we're still top of the league by 2 points, I believe. So, it could be a lot worse, but he's trying. I think before that was a total hit because he came on as a sub and didn't do nothing, but
Yeah,
now he's doing something at least, and very
he
unlucky.
uh, he came in day after Christmas and started scoring lights out. He scored in consecutive games, but it's been pretty quiet since late January until now. All right, Gary. Um,
1, 2,
what?
3,
What?
4,
The number?
5,
What?
6, 7.
What are you saying?
I was picking my number.
Well, your number is 15.
I don't want 15.
Sorry. You have to have 15. That's the last one. It's funny how you have found the numbers, all of you.
Yeah,
And your question is, or your true or false is, Mikel Arteta is improving as a manager, Gary. True or
true.
false?
Yeah, very, very much true. I think he's stuck to his guns, as they say. He knew what he wanted to do, and he's been able to do that, and he's seen it come to fruition, as they say. So, I think he's been good. And I think we understand now a lot more about how we always are asking, what is our style of play? I think we know what it is now. You know, I just remember like listening to some of the other shows for the other teams, and they would basically be able to tell you what's going to happen in certain situations, players coming
Mm,
off the bench, starting for them.
yeah.
We didn't really have those answers. We do now. We do know, we know who may come on if we need to score now. We know who may come on if we need to defend for certain scenarios. So yeah, I think he's learned a lot from the players and coaches that he's worked with, and I think he's been doing really well. I mean, he is crazy on the sidelines, but I think that's just going to be his nature, and we're just going to have to that as long as he continues to get the play out of the players. I don't think we care, right? We don't care. We
Yeah.
don't care. Like if we don't care if Jacques is blowing his top if he plays some good football, right? Yeah, that's crazy, right? That should be a yellow card, right? That's like if the officials saw that, that's a yellow card, easy, and we're laughing at it
Well,
now, right?
if they missed that, shame on them because they saw that, right? They had to
Yeah,
have seen
no,
that.
that was the best. Right? I mean,
Um,
it wasn't even like the referee was making a case or like showcasing trying to overshadow him. It's like, no, the ball's moving.
yeah. It
He's
was
like he's like that naughty kid at the back of the class that takes a piss out of the teacher.
it was 89 minutes. 89 minutes on the clock in a game we needed to win, and we
And the
got
man,
out of
he's
jail.
making jokes on the sideline, right?
Wow, he was frustrated, right? Frustrated. Um, Rival fans hate it, but I don't really care what rival fans hate it. If you're a rival fan, you're not going to like Mikel Arteta. You shouldn't like him because we're good, and when we're good, you can't banter us for how good we are. Obviously, you have to banter us for the smallest minute details, and if it's his antics on the sideline, I'll take that all day long, as long as we keep winning and keep making our rivals cry, and let's inject those tears. Uh, Stan, is Arteta improving as a manager?
I don't want a cardboard cutout character as a manager. I want my manager to have a little bit of character about him. I don't want a Graham Potter style of a manager. And I like
Yeah.
it. I like he's got his personality. If everybody else doesn't like it, to me that kind of makes it a little bit better. I'm not looking for their
Yeah.
approval.
Yeah.
And if it gets into their heads in any slight way and gives us any kind of advantage, then I'll take it. But has
We're
he
Arsenal.
improved?
We
Of
don't
course he's
care.
of course. Man finished in 8th, like, and now he's on leading us on a title charge within 3 seasons. I mean, it says it all. If we were
Uh,
languishing mid-table this season, I'd be like, well, it's over. You've had 3
he,
seasons and we're mid-table. We gave him the time when a lot of people didn't want to give him the time, and look at the rewards that we seem to be reaping now. Had we
yeah.
changed the manager, we'd be in the middle of another rebuild, because the next guy comes in, he wants to do it a different way. He doesn't want this guy. He wants to get in this guy. And then we'd be in a mid-table and everybody be arguing about it. And then you have people saying, oh, we're rebuilding. And, it'd just be a quagmire.
Yeah, yeah. I, I
We
always
we
say, I always say, Arsenal wanted us to wait for Arteta to get there. I didn't want to wait, but Arsenal did, so we wait. Right, and that's the different. Yeah, and that's what we've had to do. We waited, and we're seeing what we like now. So sorry about that.
the cake may taste better if you take your time making it, right, Gary? I know you.
That's a weird analogy, but yes,
Philosophical.
yes. I,
Wait,
I,
wait. You don't want to make a cake without eggs. You don't want to make a cake without flowers. It doesn't
well,
taste
no.
very
If you
good.
rush, right? If you
You
rush, it
rush
gets
it.
soggy on the middle, right? Right, and that's what happens. You ever had a
Yeah.
cake that's been not undercooked on the inside? Looks nice on
BX
the outside, but you get to the middle, you're like, "Ooh, this is just batter." You know?
BX is loving Arteta because he's acting up on the sideline. Stefan said Arsenal's rise has been amazing, but he has got to consolidate it next season as well and beyond. It's a slow build. We talked about this as a start as well. Alonso, you get to get your say on Arteta. Is he improving as a manager?
I think so. I think whenever back in a year ago we were complaining about he doesn't put in the right substitutes at the right moments and all that. And I think it's kind of cool how he incorporates Rob Holding as still as a closer type of role.
Closer,
He
yeah.
Yeah, he knows when to put his subs on. And granted, it takes long. He wants the security blanket as a way to she just went out even though the toughest games, right? So he still goes to the guys that are not playing that much. He still gives them a chance, and he knows what he wants in the transfer window as well. So I think he's improved a lot. Actually, I think it took some wounds, but he took them with pride. I think the bit about the sideline stuff antics is pretty cool. It shows that he's passionate and he wants his team to win, and he'll fight for his players as well.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I like the guy. I think he very much improved. I think we're in a hot seat, and I think supporters give him a hard time because he's not winning games and all that. It takes time, and I think where other clubs would have just fired their manager like Chelsea or wherever else club. We stuck by him and well played. I think the hierarchy, the Cronkies believed in them, and
Yeah.
that's the reason why.
I kind of like the narrative as well that Arsenal have done this by doing it slowly, but you have to have the right person. So if they do it with Potter, give him time, but Potter might never figure it out. Who knows? You never
I
know.
think, yeah, I think for me, Potter, Nuno were put on teams who weren't in a rebuild mode, like from
Mm,
the top down. They weren't ready to rebuild. They just wanted to get a quick fix, and get somebody to bring in that can get them to where they need to be yesterday. You know what I mean? They don't
mm,
have time to wait. Like Potter, I think they needed to either build it in his vision, or they didn't need to bring him on, because I
yeah,
think they
we
screwed
don't
him
know.
over, because it doesn't sound like he's in got any control of what's going on there. Who plays, who starts, all these types of things, and it's like you don't I think I saw somebody say like Jesse Marsh might be the guy they bring in just because there's an American connection there,
Mhm.
but
For
it's
where?
like, huh?
Where's
With
that at?
Bowley, with
Oh,
Bowley,
Chelsea.
yeah, yeah.
I
Like
think
uh,
for me, like when Nuno went to that team, that's when you sell Son and Kane. That's that's like that could have been almost 200 million to decide to go and rebuild
Yeah, they didn't
and
do it right.
let Nuno pick the squad that he wanted. Now they've kept him. Yes, they got Champions League, but do they? Is the plan working?
Who knows?
For
Thunder
me,
Road says Arteta's a twat on the sideline. What's up with him kicking the ball away from De Bruyne at childish stuff?
for me, right, with with the Chelsea thing, and I think the biggest evidence that shows that Graham Potter isn't solely in charge of what's happening with players was what happened with Ziyech. If Ziyech is in France negotiating with PSG and waiting for the papers to get sent over, then logically that tells you that the manager is up for selling this player. He's allowed him to go to France, and he's all right for this player to no longer be with the team. And then all the sale, it didn't go through because the papers were late. In the very next game, Ziyech is in the starting lineup. He's not on the bench; he starts. That tells me that the manager, if a manager is willing to get rid of a player, why would he field him in the next game as a starting player? He's already said that you're not part of my plans. I've got other things going on here, and you don't fit into it. And he's in the team in the very next game. That tells me that the manager isn't totally in control of what's happening with the players.
Yeah, yeah. The other thing as well, Gary, you touched on the style of play. I think it's easier to see a style of play when the team is successful and winning games.
But not necessarily, because we knew it. We saw it last year, right? We saw a style of play when we played City, right?
Sure.
We saw a style of play that
We had been winning. We had been
used.
doing well though in December,
Yeah.
leading up to that game. So
So I think we saw it. Now we're seeing it with all of the players that he needed, right? He's got a full
Yeah.
11 now. There aren't
Yeah.
any holes that he's trying to fill. We just need better
I think
stoppers to
it's.
come in and fix that.
But I think it's harder when we were struggling, when we were getting 8th place and we were down the relegation zone at that point 2 or 3 years ago. We asked what it was our style of play, because it's harder to see in a team that's struggling. You
And
know.
that's why the older managers works, because they can just they'll take whatever they have and they make it work, right? It's like a chef
Yeah.
goes in, looks at whatever's in the fridge and makes a
Back to
masterpiece out
fucking
of it,
cooking
right?
again.
Cake.
Cakes. What's going on with you lot? Cakes and chefs.
I'm hungry now, but you know what I mean, though, right?
Yeah.
You got the more seasoned the
He knows what to
manager.
make.
Seasoning now. Jesus.
I can't.
You got
get away
that
from it.
those 3 ingredients that you might not
Yeah.
know what they go together, but the chef knows the
Yeah.
recipe.
No,
Lonnie, have you met Philip, by the way?
Hey, Phil.
Just wanted to introduce you.
I'm regretting this now.
It's
Okay.
Grant and
What
Phil
What do you know
here.
about
These
me?
two.
The less
The Mitchell brothers. Grant and Phil.
God.
All right.
no,
Grant,
but
you
you
know
know what
this-
you
go
know,
on.
but you know what I mean, right? You bring in an
Seasoned.
older manager. It doesn't matter what the structure of the team and what the players are. They're going to get something out of them. They're going to figure out a way to make it work. Like, you saw that with Everton. They figured out a style of play that works for them. And the team that looked disorganized came in and looked organized against us.
Yeah.
Right? I think we kind of helped that, but they were able to get it to make it
And
work.
Can I
next
just say,
Thursday, next
I just
Thursday,
say-
we'll be talking about Arsenal beating Sean Dyche's Everton. By the way, Stan.
Arteta kicking the ball away. I loved every second of that. It's just a little bit of shithousery, and you can see it. The fact that the way that Kevin De Bruyne reacted, and the fact that Arteta wasn't like trying to like push him back, he was just like, "What are we talking about?" It was all planned. He was like, "What's going on with this guy? He's just losing his
You can
what's
tell
up
like
with
De
you, you
Bruyne is like, I
madman?"
know what you're doing, but it's not gonna work here,
And
buddy.
he was trying to get into their heads a bit, and I loved it. I love a little bit of that. I
Mhm.
love a little bit of that. He just the ball came to him and he just rolled it away. I like it.
All right, that was the true or false section. I think I really enjoyed it anyway. I think that we
That
all
was
had a
fun.
bit of
You need to
fun
copyright
with
that
it.
shit. You need to copyright
Uh,
that shit.
Copyright that shit. Yeah, feel free to use it anywhere, boys and girls. It's not an original idea. Probably other people have done that as well. Let's get into the Leicester game. Leicester, come on, let's be happy. It's Leicester, right?
No, well,
Do
no.
we have any?
We need to put them back in their place. They looked promising for a bit, and then they got put in their place. We need to show them that they're still in that place.
Are we
Right?
home
Alright.
or away?
We are away.
Away from
Okay.
home.
Yeah.
Stefan Thanks for hanging out with us for a little
Yep.
bit. Appreciate it.
You know something
Uh,
about Leicester, right? When they first bought Ian Nacho, I had high hopes for him, and I definitely think that there's a player in there, and I'm not sure why he's never been. I always thought that he's never been used properly at Leicester, you know. And they seem to be a team that are very. They remind me of Southampton. You don't know what you're going to get. You could go there and absolutely trounce their asses into the mud, or you could go there and they could like do damage. They're a hard team to predict, and for me, one of the hardest teams, you know, to call a score on because you don't know what you're going to get from one week to the next.
they went to Old Trafford last Sunday and played well for 25 minutes. David De Gea was called into action on a number of occasions to keep the scoreline level, but
Yep.
as soon as the first goal went in, always felt like their heads were dropping. And I think something similar will happen at the King Power Stadium on Saturday at 10 o'clock here. Um, we need to not concede the first goal, right? Sounds obvious, right? We need to be the ones who get the first goal here. If we get the first goal, we could score probably 3 goals and win 3-1 at the end of the day. If they score, you know, I feel we'll come back, but it'll be a longer, more difficult game. And I've been recently thinking about the games that we play. How would City do? How have City done? And we know City won 1-0 there with a Kevin De Bruyne free kick. They didn't get a lot of chances, Man City. So it's going to be a tight game, I feel. But I think we can come through with another 2-0 win, much like last season, where we got on top pretty early, hung on in the second half.
No, for sure. No, they, as you said, they can be a threat, but I think we're a better team for sure, and we just need to play like we have in the past. I mean,
Daka
yeah,
is dangerous as BX Gunner. Barnes, Harvey Barnes, another one. That's a player that I kind of liked when we were talking about players we should get. We got Trossard, which is one of the players we liked here as well.
yeah,
Vardy's always a bogeyman. I would like to think the days of Vardy beating us.
he's got
have
one
not,
goal in the Premier League this year. Like
He's
that's
winding
a
down,
bad.
isn't he?
It's a bad sign because we usually are Santa Claus, but
not anymore. That stops.
that wasn't exactly that was the old Arsenal. This Arsenal, you get nothing. I mean, even
We,
when we play bad teams, they don't just necessarily get all that they want. So
yeah, we
I
have
expect
been
the same
conceding
thing.
a couple of goals recently, Gary. We need to get back to being tight at the back, right?
36 now, man, Vardy. So them legs are getting creaky. You know, it was
Yes.
like 3 or 4 seasons ago when we were interested, and he was, you know, he was in his twilight then. But he's a player, obviously, because he came into the game late. He's managed to get more out of it in an Ian Wright way. But 36, probably coming up for 37. You know,
Yeah.
I think his best is well behind him now, especially his
Yeah.
pace.
Yep. Yep.
They've had a little bit of form recently, which has been stunted by Man United. I think they lost 3-0 up at Old Trafford.
Yep.
Before that, they beat Unai Emery's Villa 4-2,
Yeah,
similar scoreline to us, after
yeah.
being 2-0 up. And Villa were 2-0 up, so another trademark of Unai Emery's teams, I guess. And that team, Tottenham, lost down there in their last home game 4-1. So the warning signs are there. They can score goals. But if we do, I'm sure the emphasis, Stan, would have been we're conceding goals. And especially what happened at Aston Villa should be a sign that Mikel Arteta got them inside, watched some of that videotape, especially that second goal that we conceded at Villa Park.
As I mentioned earlier, what I want to see us do with this game is clean sheet. We go ahead rather than chasing the game, which we have done a lot of. And I would like to see Eddie stick it in the back of the net to give him a bit more confidence as well.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the things that need to happen. It needs to be a convincing game from Arsenal moving forward so that everybody looking around us is like, okay, so that's what's going down then. You know?
Yep. Hopefully they're looking ahead to their FA Cup match, so because that's probably the one thing they
Leicester
need to
in the
win.
FA Cup.
Yep. So
Okay.
they play on
And
Tuesday, right? So
Here,
yeah,
here's the thing that we should be looking at, Gary. We had to get injury time winners the last two games we won.
yep,
Eddie and Ketty against Man United and Jorginho against Villa. We need to understand we've been conceding goals. We need to batten down the hatches and have a controlled performance
yep.
against Leicester.
We need to
Understand that.
score. We need to score early and often, and quiet out any kind of thought that they might have that they might be able to get something out of this game. So
Yeah, it's going to be loud. Their home team, their home crowd are going to try and get them going to a win. Imagine right now the run. We're not quite in the run in yet, right? 15 games out, Alonso. We're not quite there, but it's going to get to a point where every team and their supporters want to put one over on the league leaders.
Right, because it's a Premier League, and according to Genio, it's the best league in the world. So, any team who's a top of the league can lose to a team on the bottom of the league. It's just how it is. But I think Arsenal are more better equipped than what Leicester are right now. With that said, it was not long ago that Leicester were the bottom of the league, facing relegation. So, they're always a team that are up for it. And we need to be prepared for playing them, especially at home. It being that
oh,
He's gone. He's
froze
gone.
on us.
Yeah. Listen, it's important to get back on track here. We don't have to spend too much time on this Leicester game, but Stan, it's important to get to winning games again and
Convincingly.
convincingly as well.
Yeah.
Let me two Lonnies here, bring the right one in. There we
right.
go.
So, like I was saying before, we need to take advantage of those shortcomings. That's all I got.
No, I mean they're a team like we were last season where they lose a game, they might lose three.
Low in confidence.
So, they've lost a game where they got pretty much they started out strong, but then pretty much it was over. We need to do the exact. We need to continue that streak for them. Stay, give them another L. We need the W's. So,
Don't
we need
give
to
them
get
any
like I
reason.
said. We need to get those first 15 minutes once again need to be positive, and then we need to get a goal. And as somebody said, Nketiah scoring would be really nice. I'd like to see him score a different type of goal. Like maybe one that's
Scorpion kick.
7 feet away from the goal, maybe 7, just a little bit further away from the goal.
Ramsdale rolls the ball out to Eddie. Eddie takes it all the way up the pitch, goes through the whole team, nutmegs the keeper.
There you go.
All right, not much else to say about Leicester, right?
Nope.
Unless anyone has any final words, Brendan Rodgers is still in a job. Leicester are a decent team. Let's not underestimate them. Let's go out there. Eddie, maybe confidence for Eddie. I want to do one thing before we get into the upset picks. Stan, give me a number between 1 and 7.
7.
Okay. Gary, give me a number between 1 and 7.
5.
Okay. Alonso, give me a number between 1 and 7.
6.
6. Okay. Stan, we're going to get drawn with Union Berlin tomorrow. Gary, we're going to get drawn with Sporting Lisbon. And you gave me 6, Alonso, did you?
Yes.
It's going to be Sevilla. So there you go. A little bit of fun there anyway. Okay. That's Leicester. True or false, we did that. We're going to get into the Premier League games this weekend now. And Stan, we bid you adieu.
Yes.
Any final words to close on your final thoughts to close out?
No, but are you looking forward to Gabriel Jesus coming back?
Yeah.
How much?
A lot.
Then
very much.
You may want to consider a Gabriel Jesus mug to drink your warm beverages in the morning when he comes back
Yes.
into the team.
Yes.
But other than that, thanks for having me on. I'm going to bow out now because obviously, as you know, my legal people have advised me not to be part of the upset pitch pending investigations. So thanks for having me.
All
Look
right.
forward to
Thanks.
seeing you all
Hey,
on
it was
Sunday.
a good chat with the true or false and all that stuff.
Enjoyed that very much. We should do
Thunder
more of
Road.
that.
Thunder
should
Road,
do
we're
more of
going to
that.
stay on a little bit longer, but yes, take care, Stan. Thank you.
Have a good
See
week,
ya.
everyone. Have a really good
All right.
week, everyone. Take
Yep.
care.
Great too.
Let's get that win on Saturday. Not over yet, Thunder Road. We're going to go through a few quick. There's a couple of postponements this weekend, so let's talk about the cup final first, Gary. It's a really difficult choice who you want to win this game. Man
True.
United. Which United do you want to win, Newcastle or Man United?
It is really difficult, and I think
Lesser evils and all that.
Newcastle has punished themselves to make it a little bit easier for Manchester United to get the win. Right, they're on their third goalkeeper, so
Yeah.
that's disappointing in a sense that you would like to see Manchester United lose, and the chances of that happen are slimmer now. So. Yeah, I don't. I actually want to see a good match. I do want to see them work a little bit hard so that at least when they play, I guess they like they're gonna have three. They're not gonna. By the time they play, would have played 3 games. Is that right? And same thing for City, right?
So we're gonna play on the weekend. We're gonna play Everton midweek, and I believe it could be Sunday. Probably will be Sunday because of the ties are going to be on the 9th of March and the 16th of March. We could actually play on the Saturday. So it could be Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday for us. United won't play till they play Liverpool, right?
Yeah. So I think by the time they play, we could be double digits in front of them.
Well ahead of them. Yeah.
So that would be a good sign for us. That means we wins all the way. So yeah, why not?
We're going to need these 3 wins. We need to win a lot of the next 5 games because we're going to play Liverpool, as we know. We're going to play
Yep.
Newcastle away, and we're going to play Man City away. That run in is going to be tough.
So City and Manchester United will be playing non-Premier League games that allows us to push ahead as well, right? Because
Yeah. Question
we'll-
really is, who do you want to have that trophy? I know it's
I-
a small trophy, but
it's a Carabao Cup. I guess
who
I
care
guess
about the
Newcastle. I would
Carabao
think
Cup?
if I have to make a choice, Newcastle.
Okay,
Because
Newcastle.
that would mean Manchester United did not win.
Yeah, I think I would go for Newcastle as well. BX Gunner says Newcastle all day long. Alonso, Newcastle versus United.
Like Gary
Newcastle.
said, this is a tough one because I hate United and I hate how what Newcastle has become. But Newcastle hasn't won in a very long time anything, so I give Newcastle by default.
Yeah. Thunder Road says Newcastle. Man United supporters are starting to do my head in. I think we're starting to hear them get louder and louder. So I agree with this one, Thunder Road, as they drool over the prospects of Qatari owners. At the end of the day, I mean, the club's going to do what the club's going to do with the Qatari owners, but it's not something that is a good look. This will show how sturdy our legs are. This is crunch time. These results are like gold in weight. We're going to need to get a jump on everyone else in these next 4 or 5 games. Okay, let's get into the Premier League, Gary. Fulham at home to Wolves, first off. It's actually tomorrow, 6th place versus 15th place.
It's hard to tell which Wolves team you're going to get. Fulham's been playing pretty well as far as you can tell by where they are in the table.
Wolves
So
are
I'm going to go with a draw for this one. A nice 1-1 draw. It's a Friday. Teams are shorter weeks, right? So I'm going to go 1-1.
1-1 draw. Fulham probably the best of the cluster of teams chasing. You've got Brentford in there. You got Brighton in there that are pretty decent as well. Alonso, 15th place, Wolves away to Fulham.
This is my upset special.
He's picked it. He's picked
Yeah.
it. I think Gary may have picked it as well, right, Gary?
I've picked one. I don't remember which one it is now.
It was Wolves.
Okay.
You can change your mind. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Fulham. I think Fulham will probably get the win in this game. Everton versus Aston Villa, Gary. 16th versus 11th.
I think well, it's hard to like. Is the Villa that we played against going to be in that game? You know what I mean? Because if it is, then I expect the Villa to be able to
Is
compete in that one.
It was the
Is it
Villa that we played against
in that
versus
first?
the Everton that we played against, and Everton are going to win that game. You know.
That is true as well. But the
Mhm.
Everton we saw play the next week, so they've been kind of brought back to earth. So maybe they're not going to be as good, and Everton won't be as lucky. So yeah, it's
Your
either gonna
theory, your theory is always you like to see the team win before they meet Arsenal, right?
true,
So you,
true.
that would mean an Everton win because we
Yep,
do play
yep.
them on Wednesday.
There you go. Everton win
Alonso,
2-1, 2-1. Yeah.
Everton home to Aston Villa. Alonso.
I'm going for a draw.
Okay. Yeah, I think I think Everton will be Aston Villa here. Aston Villa are soft, the way Arsenal have been soft over the years. You know what I mean? And we're not that chocolate anymore. Um, Leicester City at home to Arsenal has got to be an Arsenal win. Okay, we're all agreed there. We'll skip that.
2-0, 2-0
2
Arsenal.
0 2-0 to the Arsenal. Alonso, West Ham at home to Nottingham Forest, 18th versus 13th.
West Ham.
West Ham win. Now, Sam has picked West Ham, so he's counting on David Moyes' home conference against Nottingham Forest.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think West Ham will win that game, so not a bad choice. Gary,
Yeah, it's
West
like
Ham
there's
Forest.
there's some really good upset picks, and that was one of them. So I think
Yep.
West Ham at home. It's a
Let me
good
just bring up the because Tony's a little bit worried. I would say, you know what I mean. I mean, Tony's got some worries, but this is a minor worry in terms of Tony. And we're closing. Sam is closing the gap. I've closed the gap. You've closed the gap
Mhm.
on Tony. And Sam is right behind Tony now. So, okay. The next one, Gary, is Leeds United at home to Southampton. I did not designate this a
Oh, that's
WGAF.
right. That's right. Yeah, I want Mr. Tan to be happy, so no upset here.
Yeah. The WJAFs were Everton and the West
And
Ham games.
they are
So
playing at Leeds, so yeah, Leeds to win 2-1.
it's got to be a win. It's got to be a win for Leeds.
Yeah.
They're playing at home. They're playing Southampton. What they can't do, Alonso, is they cannot foul or create free kicks outside the box for James Ward-Prowse. Actually, if he would score another free kick, I think he would get the record for the most amount of free kicks. Um, who does? How does the upset picks scoring work? So they're based off of at the time of kickoff, the league positions are tabulated 6th versus 15th. For instance, Fulham versus Wolves. If you get a win, you have to pick the team that's lower in position on the road. If you get the win, you get all of the points. If you get a draw, if there is a draw, you get half of the difference in the positional points. So for Gary and Alonso, if Gary goes for Wolves and Alonso goes for Wolves, it's 6th versus 15th. There's 9 points up for grabs. And if it's a draw, they get 4.5 points. So that's how it works. So I feel like a draw is a decent amount of points to get half points. Alonso, Leeds versus Southampton. Did I go to you already?
No, we did not. I hate to say this on Mr. Tom, but I think Southampton win this game.
Not a good
by
friend.
by free
Not a
kick
good
by
friend.
any McIntyre. Oh, yeah.
Bad friend.
Most
Bad
definitely,
Alonso.
Hey man,
Uh,
reality, man.
so you think Southampton will beat Leeds at Elland Road?
Unfortunately, I do. Sorry, Tom.
We struggled. Arsenal struggled there. We were lucky to get a win at Elland Road. I think Leeds will win. Will beat Southampton. Gary, I think you've already said
Yep.
your piece
Yep.
on that, right? All right. Bournemouth at home to Manchester City. 17 versus second. There would be 15 points on the line. Just to
It
explain
would be
that to
nice to
on the
see.
road.
Well, what haven't City just drew,
They,
right?
they
So,
just drew away to Nottingham Forest.
so
Will they drop points at Bournemouth away from home?
that would be really nice to see. Bournemouth is coming off of a win,
Are you
and
are you rubbing your forehead because you're thinking about this?
that would be really nice. It'd be nice to go. It'd be nice to go at least, you know, it'd be nice to go what 4 points ahead of them. Yeah, that'd be really nice. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Why not? Why not? Drop some more points, City, because they're going to be concentrating
Are
on
you
their next
like
match, right? So
Leipzig? I don't know if they play Leipzig this
yeah,
Wednesday. It's probably
I think
2 week gap.
I was checking that out. I think they do play them in the middle of the week. Let's see
Okay,
here. Uh, nope, no, they don't
it's
play them for
2 week
another
gap.
week. So
Yeah.
they have the FA Cup. They have the FA Cup. That's what it is.
Okay. Yeah. Listen, I thought you were thinking there about going for Bournemouth for a second. 15
Nah,
points.
I'm not gonna. No, that seems too close to home because like that benefits me two ways if it happens. But I can't. No, that's like
It's almost too good to be true,
that
right,
one's
Gary?
yeah, that one's a little bit too much. I think you're asking for too much there. An upset that doesn't affect you is nice, but that one affects you really. Would be really nice if they got the win. But yeah,
Yeah. I think City will be desperate to win that one.
for sure.
I think Haaland's going to score in this game for sure. He's going to be
Mhm.
hurting from last weekend, missing chances. Okay, Crystal Palace at home to Liverpool, Gary, 12th versus the 8th. And Crystal Palace got a draw at Anfield earlier in the season.
Yeah, I don't think that's the same Liverpool they're playing now. This one's a little bit playing much better football.
Are they
I mean,
better? Are Liverpool better?
Liverpool is better than the last Liverpool, but are they? They're not close to a team that competes in the Champions League, as we just saw.
Hmm. But
And
they had the
they're gonna be
sending
pissed.
off.
They're gonna be pissed off. They're gonna be pissed. Well, they didn't have a send off in
And did
against
the
Real
Newcastle
Madrid.
game. So Pope, let's really drill down on Liverpool. They played well. They got a 2-0 lead against Newcastle, but then the sending off. You really think they would have went on and win the game more? How do we evaluate? It's hard to evaluate
I don't
Liverpool now.
remember that. I don't know why I don't remember that match, but
Newcastle.
yeah. Oh, yeah, but then Newcastle actually competed, right? With
They
10 men.
competed
Yeah.
with 10 men against 11.
Yeah, yeah. So, and like I said, I think the loss that just happened, that's going to be a little bit more incentive for them to come out and play much better this week. So I think it's going to be really, really hard for Bournemouth to surprise them.
Liverpool know that if they start playing well and getting some results, they can maybe make top four,
Hmm.
at least Europa League at the least. So there's great. This is going to be a big game, I think. Crystal Palace, as Thunder Road said, Saturday night at Sellers Park will be rocking. It's an 8 o'clock kickoff, a 7:45 kickoff.
Mm.
So this will be good television. This will be a good game. Alonso, Crystal Palace versus Liverpool. What do you think?
I think Bournemouth City will be a draw,
Bournemouth City will be a draw. Okay.
but I think Crystal Palace, Liverpool. Um, I want Villar to succeed as a coach for Crystal Palace.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. We all want that. All Arsenal fans, all Crystal Palace fans want that for Vieira. I think he's suffering a little bit of that second season syndrome for me. He had young players and a young team playing really well last season, and now they've hit a little bit of a speed bumps here and there. You know what I mean?
he also had Conor Gallagher too,
Mm,
which was a very good influence on that club.
yeah.
Yeah. But Liverpool, I think, like Stan has said, and maybe you too, Gary, that it's all going in cycles, right? Nunes and Gakpo haven't really been the signings Liverpool had hoped for, or at least not yet. So they're in a little bit of disarray at the moment. With Jurgen Klopp, could be on his way out. But that said, Liverpool always are a good team, despite all that. They can still show up and play. But I think that Real Madrid game really hurt their chances as far as being more successful. So I think Liverpool, a Jurgen Klopp Liverpool team, has hit their ceiling as far as
Hmm.
last year goes to this year. You know, it's quite a discrepancy between the two seasons, right? So it would not surprise me if Palace win this game.
No, I mean it wouldn't surprise me either. Um, is Jurgen Klopp going to be the manager that can reinvent Liverpool and rebuild again? Probably could do. There's a lot of people saying he's hit that 6 or 7 year um, area again where it happened at Dortmund, and I don't necessarily think that. I think he's going to stay at the club and try to rebuild them back to where they were. Um, but they're strange. They've had a very strange season. Their fans are obviously disappointed. Gary, what do you think what's going on in Liverpool? It's always hard to put our fingers on the finger our thoughts on this one.
Yeah, I think I was listening to that match. They are, as I said, I think they've gotten old and
Hmm.
they didn't foresee their warnings. Like the Milner experiment should have been like that, that light bulb going off. Like
Yeah,
it's good to have him. Like
like El
Henderson,
Nani.
same thing. And it's like, but we need to have somebody for the future, right?
Yeah,
Who's the future Henderson? Who's the future Van Dyke? Who's
or
gonna,
Badic, like
who
Badic
like
guy.
who in the middle of the pitch are they gonna? Their midfield is not as good as they would like it to be. I know that from a lot of the fans. So, and this is where I think people come in and say Klopp he's good at getting you across the line, but he's not really preparing you to get to the blocks, right? And that's what they need to do. They need to start all over and get prepared and get all ready to go. So that's why some people think he'll leave. But I think they needed to have a better plan to sustain all the things that they were trying to do that they've done. Sorry, because a different year in Liverpool, this Liverpool team could have been a team like competing for the top of the league, right? I mean, we didn't expect to see a drop off like this, the way they were going.
No, it's been
Not after the way they ended
yeah.
last season, playing on four fronts and being successful in two of them, and losing basically at the end of the last game. Really, probably lost it earlier for the league, but they had chances to win four trophies, and
Hmm.
they were putting themselves in good positions in all of them, and
Yeah.
so yeah, so no, I think it's yeah, I think they will want to respond to the way that last game. I believe that's what's going to happen. They didn't like the way that left a bad taste in their mouth. I would expect them to come out and play much better. They have, like you said, they've got Nunez, they've got Gatpo, and they've got Salah. Those are opponent
Dangerous.
opponent front three.
Yeah.
They're going to want to make a difference in the game if they play, depending on how they play them. But yeah,
Were you
it's
surprised? Were you surprised that they didn't play more defensively in the second half of the Champions League game?
you're up 2-0, and it isn't as if you haven't been here before. It's the same Real Madrid you played last year,
Yeah.
and it's the same Real Madrid that you were, managing well in that first part of the game, and that's how they kind of won a couple of those games, right? They always seem to come back,
Hmm.
right?
I
So 2-0 up. You don't have to take as many risks with the way that you're playing and give them opportunities, and that's exactly what they did, and they paid for it dearly.
Dearly. Yeah.
I mean, they basically, I think it was
Even at 3-2, even
yeah,
at 3-2 down, you play defensively, get out of there with a defeat at
and you're
3-2.
happy. You'll take
You
that,
still
right?
have a
Even
game
yeah,
in
4-2,
Spain.
you're still comfortable, but then give that fifth goal, and it's like you did everything wrong, right?
Heads, they were finished. That was 20 minutes before the end of the game in the 60 something minute, 70 minute. And Benzema scored that fifth goal. And you just saw that they were beaten at that point, even with 15, 20 minutes to go
Mhm.
in the half. I don't know what's going to happen in Liverpool, but I do feel like Jurgen Klopp is going to stay there and try to build that team again. The landscape is different. FSG are not, maybe not selling the club now, and United are looking to maybe sell and be the new Newcastle or be the new Chelsea. Who knows? Interesting times though. I think it's going to be a good game though. I think Crystal Palace could beat Liverpool. They haven't been good away from home at all. Um, Alonso, Tottenham, the last one, and then we'll get out of here. Tottenham at home to Chelsea. And I'll probably be skipping Gary. Gary does not want to comment on that team, right, Alonso?
If there was a time that Chelsea should win the game, it would be Sunday.
That's what I'm picking them. I think, yeah, that's my
So yeah,
upset pick.
Chelsea. Yeah.
Hmm.
Even though I hate Chelsea, but I don't hate that club.
This
I don't.
reminds me.
It's another one of those. Can they both lose?
Yeah,
Every result is acceptable, right?
but Chelsea
Can they both
currently
lose?
aren't in European spot, but the team down the road are.
And yeah,
So any loss that prevent them to go to Europe would be fine with me.
Yeah, yeah, and Chelsea wins, they still can't move up the table.
Right.
they can't. They're that far back in 10th. Is there? Are they 3 points away?
We're 4 points back
4
from,
points back.
from
That's
ninth
horrible.
place.
That's
So they
horrible.
get the win, they still are a point behind. So it's like
Right, that's not horrible. That's a blessing, man.
It's horrible if you're for Chelsea
no,
fans
but
who have
we can
just
laugh at that, right?
they've
So,
dined at the top table for 20, 25 years now. And
Okay, Chelsea fans are like City fans. They're bandwagon fans. The only reason why they're Chelsea fans is they won trophies. Just like
yes,
City.
yeah. So that's they're 4 points adrift of ninth place. So they can win and still stay where they are. That's
that's why it's
hilarious.
okay if they win. We don't care.
Yeah.
And that means that team didn't get
And
3 points. So it's even
on the
more
other
makes it
side,
better.
it would be so Spursy if United are not playing the league game. They have a chance to go into a secure fourth place and get closer to United. Haven't played a game more. They'll
Yep.
probably fumble that away and drop points as well.
Yeah, and if Newcastle draws against City in their game, which we would like, then they could still jump. They could jump into fourth.
Yeah.
They don't play them until
Yeah.
March, but yeah.
Yeah.
So and Newcastle
interesting.
will be rested for that one, right? Because I don't think they have any. I don't
Well,
know if they have any.
they got this cup final coming up on Sunday against
Yeah, but
United.
they don't play again until the weekend. Yeah, they don't play again until Saturday the 4th.
Right. Yeah,
Oh,
the following weekend. Yep. They're not in the cup. They got dumped out of the cup as well in the FA Cup.
So they're going to be rested.
So hey, here's a good scenario. Newcastle beat Man United on Sunday. They win the Carabao Cup. They're full of confidence when they go to the Etihad and play Manchester City.
Very much so.
And Manchester City have played an FA Cup game, and it's the first game on a Saturday.
Yes.
So Pep will be, all managers complain about whoever's in that first game on the Saturday. they all complain about that lunchtime kickoff, even
Yeah.
though it happens. You know what I mean? It
Yes.
happens to all. Young Chelsea and City fans are annoying, not including Ray's nephew. He's annoying. He thinks that Leipzig result was okay. You know, City did not play well by all accounts against Leipzig,
Yeah.
but they
That
should
and
be
that
good enough.
that has been consistent, right?
Yeah.
We keep saying it and then being surprised and then keep saying it again. City did not play well. I think play
Um,
and at some point we're going to be saying that is just City this season. Hopefully that's when it doesn't matter what they do because we won the league.
yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like finally saying and it don't matter. It's not like, well, you're
Yeah.
just saying it because of where you sit. No, no, no. It does it's been true all season and hopefully it continues.
Okay. So then we had the hunt for Red October in
Yes.
October. Now we're gonna have the Arsenal leading the march. That's my
Okay.
pun
There you
on
go.
next month. Okay.
Nice playing
And
words.
we have to march before we can run. The run
Yeah.
in's gonna happen. When do you think the run in? I saw this earlier on my timeline. What do you consider a run in to be, Gary? How many games or at what point in the season?
Kind of feel like five,
Six to
five or
eight.
six. Yeah. Well, I
Okay.
was gonna say 5 or 6 because I think. Well, is it 5 or 6? Because yeah, I think it's 5 or 6. I was thinking because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're right, 6 because we play City with 6 matches.
That'll be
The
the
s-
run in.
that'll be the yeah. So if we
We're
depending on how that
halfway
game
there.
goes, for me, the way we're playing right now, like Aston Villa all the way to that Southampton match, which I think is let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 matches.
Hmm.
They're all against teams except for maybe Liverpool
Hmm.
that we should be expecting to get, be able to compete for the
Pretty
all three
decent
points,
amount of
right?
points. Yep.
So if you tell me you get what 27 points on top of what we already have, right?
27. Yeah. Okay.
That puts us in that 80-point range
81.
with
Yeah.
6 matches to go.
I think we need about 89 points or 90 points
Yeah. So if
to
we,
get
we need to go. It would be
25.
nice to go on a nice run here
Yep.
where we don't lose until we go into that City match not having lost. That would be really nice. Nice
Yeah.
way to put pressure, but we have the Europa League game, so it's going to be tough. And that's where Arteta needs to rotate and playing. Get these guys
Yeah.
playing that aren't
This
part of the 11.
this Europa League is going to put the cat among the pigeons as well. We have to be able to maintain both competitions.
Mhm.
We'll get out of here. Let's get your final thoughts, Gary, and then
Yeah, no,
Alonso.
looking forward to the match on the weekend. Another 3 points, just for one more test. Let's get the 3 points. Let's get a 5 point lead on City and let them figure out what they're gonna do. So yeah, have them go into their game knowing that they're 5 points back, and hopefully they drop points, and that would be nice because that'll give us 6, right?
Yeah,
Not 6, but that would give us 4.
five
So
5 point gap.
yeah, it'd
We
be
have a
nice to get
2 point.
5. They'd lose even better, but
Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
Who've they got in the FA Cup? They're playing.
Uh,
Just
I
curious.
was looking at that. It's they are playing
Bristol City, an
Bristol
easy one.
City, so that
Okay.
should be they're playing away.
Yeah. They'll send out their second team though. That it's important for them to win at Bournemouth and win against Newcastle. Okay. Thanks for joining, Gary. I had some fun tonight. Alonso, your final thoughts, Alonso. Thanks for joining
Yeah,
me.
like Gary, we should aim for 3 points. Hopefully, Arteta knows his lineup. Who's going to start? Who's on the bench? Looking forward to see some new players. Hopefully, like Kawar and maybe also Silver play too. But yeah, you should aim for 3 points and hope City drop points. So yeah, on Monday, listen to the trip hosted by Gary.
Yes.
Also tune in on Wednesday to the Someone Else on podcast. And also make sure you drop by Etsy.com, the Goodness Shack for stands, stuff you could buy. So yeah, thanks for having me, Ray, and talk to you guys soon. Gary.
So we got Gary on Saturday. Your podcast on Saturday. What time are you going? 11.
I'm gonna try to start. I'm probably gonna just do a watch along because I usually start at 11.
Yeah.
The match is at 10,
And
so it's usually I go on Ryan's for the show. But I'm just like, you know what? I don't want to. It feels weird. Go there for a half and then start my own show. I might as well just start my show and just do a watch along on my channel
yeah,
and
yeah.
see who joins me. And so yeah, that's my plan. Is
Cool.
probably to start early, and then
Yeah.
after the
Yeah.
show, usually Sam will join, and Mr. Tom usually joins. So yeah.
Gary, do you send invites or is it just you? I forgot how it works with watch alongs, but do you just post it on YouTube?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So
When
Great.
when is the full announcement on? Is that Saturday evening
if
or?
there's a
Wednesday.
match, yeah, if there's a big event, then they'll do it on a Saturday evening.
But Wednesdays at 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock your time.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then come see us on the Arsenal Fan Circle again on Sunday. You know the time and the place. All right. Check out Gary Saturday or Sunday. We're giving you a full week now between there.
He froze
Let's
on us.
get out of here before the whole thing comes down. Arsenal get a win. Please, and we'll see what happens where the chips fall from there. Come on, you Gunners. Thanks for watching, everybody, live and on the playback. Take care of yourselves
See
out
ya.
there.
You got it.